Welcome everybody to another BD Boxing Podcast morning call-in edition for everybody. That's right. Early bird gets the worm, and we are here live from the true north. Glad everybody could be on board for this one, fellas. In this episode, we've got a fantastic one for you, and I do mean a fantastic one because we've got a lot of recapping to do, a lot of events, a lot of moving parts, a lot of movers and shakers involved in this weekend's boxing, so we got to get down to it. Before we get down to the fun, you guys know the drill. If you want to donate a couple of shekels our way, you're certainly welcome to do so via the Super Chat feature. You can also donate via the Buy Me a Coffee app, link in the description. And you can join our Patreon. Don't forget, you can also join Patreon for free. You still get access to a lot of things there, but just sign up and let us know that you are around. What else? Oh yeah, you can also join the membership program. That way you get more bang for your buck. But the most important thing is that you continue to like, you subscribe, you spread that BDA gospel. Spread it. I said spread it, not spread them. I know people are already having those dirty thoughts early Monday morning. Hopefully you guys got your coffee, your tea, whatever, as you get ready for the day. We're going to be talking some boxing here. Shout out to J. Will, Buddy Love, Bernhard, Mr. Pelavacas, Fight Sports Talk, FST, JJ, Keyshawn, JJ, Windy City, Sade Soda, Alfredo Contreras, Quick Sloth, Handsome Mechanic, Buddy, that's Buddy Love, Hard Recoil, Sergeant, Grim Reaper, Iron Fist, Mars Boxeo, Ricardo Renteria, Langsbury. How many more people to come, I'm sure. Fellas, thank you for joining us. Really appreciate it. Let's get right down to it. Listen, this week's action certainly provided a lot of action. People actually, started thinking that it was going to be a good fight between Keyshawn Davis and Edwin de los Santos. And well, that fight didn't happen, obviously. But even before that, we were already talking about that Friday morning, before everything imploded, that the Keyshawn Davis de los Santos fight was sort of that's not what I'm looking for here. It was already a little bit compromised because De Los Santos had not fought in over a year. We know that he had a blood clot, and then he was undersized against Keyshawn Davis. So that was what was going on. Then we talked about Keyshawn Davis doing a lot of jawing. a lot of jawing in the build-up to the fight. Started jawing with Abdullah Mason. Because Abdullah Mason had the goal to say, hey, maybe I want to fight this guy one day. What you going to do? What you going to do? When? Sign the fight. Get the fight. Like if Abdullah Mason is the one that's personally constructing the contract. So then Friday night arrives. Friday evening. The guy can't even make weight. And we're talking about Keyshawn Davis. Fails to make weight. 4.3 pounds. His promoter, Bob Arum, says he doesn't seem like he tried. Now remember, Bob Arum is a guy that threw his own fighter, Teofimo Lopez, under the bus. The same Bob Arum from a few years ago, who said, yesterday I was lying today, I'm telling the truth. This guy is close to death now. I don't think he's got time to be lying. And so if he throws Teofimo Lopez under the bus, he'll throw Keyshawn Davis under the bus, his own fighter. He was truthful. And there's other people corroborating the same view that, hey, this guy doesn't seem like he tried to make weight. In fact, I think he even said it. Hey, my body just can't do it anymore. What do you want from me? So that's what happened with Key on Friday. That's what we call Keyshawn Davis around here, by the way, Key. Hey, what's up, baby? Yo, what's up, Key? How you doing? But that's the thing, yo. So already he left a sour taste on people's mouths, Keyshawn Davis. And people just don't like it when a fighter doesn't make weight and but worst of all, doesn't even try to make weight. So this is what's going on here with Keyshawn Davis. Fails to make weight. Luckily, Edwin de Los Santos then refuses to take the fight. His handlers, and by the way, Samson Lukowicz gets a lot of flack from our end of the show here because of his dealings with David Benavidez imploding the Canelo fight and so on. But in this scenario, he actually looked out for his fighter, Edwin de Los Santos. They offered de Los Santos, I believe, up to 50% more money than initially agreed upon. And he said, no amount of money is worth the physical suffering or the physical damage that we may incur in this bout. So they said no. So luckily the event went on. Abdullah Mason versus Nakatila became the main event with Kelvin Davis, Keyshawn Davis's brother, a supporting act against Nahir Albright. Well, things took a bit of a weird turn. Bit of a weird turn, let me tell you, on Saturday via Norfolk. And by the way, I think I already mentioned this on Friday, but this was supposed to be the big act for Keyshawn Davis. His fight against Baranchik, I suppose you could say, was a bit of a... Excuse me, hold on a second. Fucking insects coming in here. Sorry about that. It's in the summer here, so insects all over the place. Anyway, the Baranchik fight, you could say, was a coming out party, but this, apparently the mayor of Norfolk was going to be there. I think a bunch of sports stars were going to be there as well, celebrities. So evidently it was going to be a big event. But then Keyshawn Davis had to ruin it by failing to make weight. Now, some people are going to say, well, BDA. Well, actually, I'm going to get to that later. Excuse me. But I'm just telling people the story in case they missed it. It's interesting, though, because Keyshawn Davis failed to make weight. And then I think the Fight Hub are the ones who recorded this. I'm not sure. But they managed to catch Keyshawn Davis at the fight. And you check this out. Look at him. Stuffing his face with food. Look at that. Did you see that? It's not even him just eating a couple of snacks or something. It's him gorging on food to the point where, look, food is coming out of his mouth. Look at that. He's like a duck. Okay, now he's chewing at least. He's chewing. It seemed, I was worried that he wasn't chewing. He was just wolfing it down and swallowing it like a duck. Look at him. In front of everybody. Hey, you gotta have a good time, right? Keyshawn gonna do what Keyshawn gonna do. It's the way he probably thought about it. He's got the big chain around his neck too. Looking like Urkel. So that's what happened there. Also, Top Rank, the ESPN telecast was very quick to start off the broadcast by pointing out what Keyshawn Davis did. And then they showed Keyshawn Davis in the back, in the dressing room, supporting his brother, egging him on. Yeah, you're going to do it, champ. And he's screaming. He's happy. He's got a smile on his face, cheesing from ear to ear. And you're thinking, this doesn't look like a guy who's ashamed of what happened on Friday with the whole missing weight and almost ruining the event. So then, hold on a second. Looking for more video here. Okay, so that's what happened. trying to move along here. But that's what happened. You guys know what happened. So let's get to the action on Saturday. Now here, Albright on the opening fight for the telecast, the main card that is, ends up beating Kelvin Davis, that's Keyshawn Davis' brother, by majority decision, which really should have been unanimous. But, they're in the hometown. And it's funny because I was watching the fight with people on the Discord, and I said, they got to be giving Kelvin Davis rounds for doing nothing, for essentially catching shots on the face, back foot bitching it around the ring, and clinching. A lot of clinching. In fact, this dude here, this referee, who looks like the wise old Vietnam vet that was living in the hood before the crack epidemic, and so now he's the guy that counsels young gang members. You don't have to do this, young son. You don't have to live this life. Well, that's what he looks like. But he warned Kelvin Davis for the clinching at some point. I think it was in the 7th or 8th round, after more than 50 clinches at least from Kelvin Davis. I wasn't counting, but I have to assume that it was 50. So he warns him after the middle rounds, and then for 3 more rounds till the end of the fight, he lets Kelvin Davis clinch again, which is even more egregious because now you can't feign ignorance that, the clinching, I was okay with it, or I didn't see it. No, he can't do that because he warned him in the 7th round after a lot of clinching, and then he continued seeing the clinching and didn't do anything about it. So I don't know what's going on with these referees. Same thing with that the guy that looks like a cop. He was a referee for Torres versus Vianello. He took a point from Vianello early on in the fight for the clinching, and then he let the Italian clinch for the rest of the fight. Never took a point away again. Never deducted a point. So I don't know. The standards are weird. It's almost as if they're being told now, hey, listen, yeah, people are complaining about the clinching and the back foot bitching. Try to curtail it, but just I don't know. Because that's the way it seems like to me. He's pointing out the clinching. They're deducting points for clinching, but then they stop doing it. And they allow the guy to do it again until the end of the fight. So what's the point of warning them and taking the point away early when you're not going to go all the way and disqualify them for it? So it's weird. It is weird. But at the end of the day, he, what's his name? Albright ends up winning the fight. Well, we're getting ready for Mason versus Nakatila. We're watching the broadcast. Everyone's having a good time. And even before that, there were certain things going on that indicated that there was something in the air. Something in the air that night in Virginia. And I want to show you one more clip here that somebody, I don't know who recorded this, but shout out whoever posted this. This is Keyshawn Davis after stuffing his mouth with food. And before the altercation, I believe, between his brother and Albright. Check this out.
Your boy's gonna get it today. He was fucking scared. No. He was scared. They are.
Okay, so he's going at it with some Afro-Anglos. Some Dominicans. Look at that dude there on the right hand. Look at that. He's posing for the photograph. How high is that guy? But so you can tell by the accent of these fellas and by the fact that Keyshawn Davis is calling them your boy, or calling Ed De Los Santos your boy, indicates that these are Dominicans. Check this out again.
Your boy's gonna get it today. He was fucking scared. No. He was scary.
He was scary. I think he meant to say he was scared, which somebody in the chat said that Keyshawn Davis stuffing his mouth with food indicates he's got the munchies. Yeah, maybe he's high as well. I hate to have to go there, but that what are we talking about here? And so that's what we had that night. Keyshawn Davis actually having the temerity to say, hey, your boy was scared. Well, perturbed, worried, trepidatious, whatever adjective you want to use, or synonym you want to use for that. You're finding a guy who's 4.3 pounds overweight. He's the A-side, fighting in his hometown. How many more advantages does a guy have to have before you go, I don't know, maybe it shouldn't sound a good idea to fight him? So Keyshawn Davis has the goal to say that De Los Santos was scared because of that. Well, I guess if that's the way he wants to see it, again, indicates a bit of delusion right there from Keyshawn Davis. Well, you guys know where we're going with this. As the broadcast unfolds, we get the news that there was an altercation in the back. Now here, Albright claims that as he was celebrating his win, backstage, his dressing room, Keyshawn Davis and one of his other brothers barged into the dressing room and accosted him. Now, just to be clear, he ended up saying initially in the broadcast that he was jumped by the brothers. The brothers jumped him. Then we see the video. We're going to see it later on. It seems more as if he meant to say that they jumped in on the action. But the way he said it initially, they jumped me, indicated or denoted or connoted as if they dropped them and then they stomped them on the ground, which is not what happened. But it was still quite egregious what happened. Check this out.
You see when you don't control your anger, you see what happens? This type of stuff right here. The stock just plummeted to the floor. I was a Davis Brothers fan. I was. No, I'm a Dullah Mason 5.
All right, that's Tim Bradley there in the background giving you his thoughts on the melee. So there's Keyshawn Davis trying to get at somebody there. He's being restrained. Probably not the first time in his life he has to be restrained. I mean, he was in an insane asylum, according to him. So there you see him there. There's a lot of jawing going on. Then they finally drag him out. Let's see if we can get a better angle of this melee brouhaha that took place here. Hold on a second. Yeah.
Punches being thrown, and now your All Bites brother is in the purple, and you just.
So this is the view that's corroborated by multiple witnesses, that it was the Davises that instigated the action by going up to Nahir Albright.
And you see punches being thrown, and now your All Bites brother is in the purple, and you just see Keyshawn Davis come in. The guy running in is Keon Davis, and things are being thrown. There's no room.
Okay, so the other brother that got involved was Keon. It was IKEA or something like that, but then whatever.
For this in the sport, there's no room for the Davis brothers to be in the building.
So there you see somebody actually pulling back a stroller, this white girl in the back.
Tonight, the police escorted them out. You saw a stroller.
So Keyshawn Davis all over the place. Look at him. Highly uncontrollable, unhinged, moving all over the place. Then finally he makes his way over to the left. And it turns out it's his baby in that stroller. Turns out it's his baby. And according to the people who saw this up close, he almost toppled that carriage over. So while with his infant son, with his toddler in that room or in the vicinity, he decides to get into a melee, a brouhaha, start a riot with his kid there. I mean, you know, you talk to parents, they always talk about the parental instinct. You're very aware of your surroundings of danger when you have your son nearby, because the first thing that pops into your mind is, I got to protect my son. This guy wasn't thinking that. This guy was thinking, oh, my brother got beat. I'm salty about it. I'm going to go ahead and assault his opponent. I got to tell you, fellas, it's interesting that very few people are actually defending this. The worst that I'm seeing sometimes is some people trying to soften the blow, and we're going to get to that. Some people are trying to act like they don't want to go ahead and say it outright, that this was abhorrent behavior. But for the most part, a lot of people are telling Davis or criticizing the Davis' brothers. Some people are talking about suspensions, blah, blah, blah. I don't know exactly what happened, if there were any punches that landed or whatever, but it is highly unprofessional. And by the way, the reason why this is so bad for the Davises is because it's a stacked situation. Not only did this happen, but then it was followed, or it followed the events of Friday where Keyshawn Davis failed to make weight and seemed unapologetic about it. I mean, yeah, he apologized. Hey, I couldn't make the weight. I'm sorry. But he also seemed very aloof. The fact that he didn't even try to make weight, according to some sources, his own promoter. So, again, this is what makes it so bad and such an egregious situation. You gotta stop saying egregious. But it's early in the morning. Now, the reason why I titled this, did Keyshawn Davis embarrass the culture? I'm not just bringing the culture out of nowhere, because Keyshawn Davis, in the build-up to this fight, was doing a lot of jawing, talking about not wanting to fight Murataya, Frank Martin, who is he? Abdullah Mason, let's get it. Sign the contract, you're soft. This is what he had to say about Frank Martin vis-a-vis Martin's own experiences with the volatile Tank Davis. Okay, so check out what Keyshawn, or Key as we like to call him, check out what Key had to say about Frank Martin.
Trying to sell a fight, right? I mean,
before the Frank sounded like a good fight? Does it still sound like a good fight?
No, Frank is soft. Tank exposed him. Tank was doing anything to him in the press conference and the weigh-ins. The entire culture is seeing that Frank Martin is really kind of soft.
The entire culture seen it. So he's very aware, and he's got a keen understanding of that the culture is watching. They're always watching. And it's interesting that neither Devin Haney nor Shakur Stevenson get the same support from the culture as Tank Davis does. The last guy that got us a lot of support from the culture was Errol Spence, and before that, Deontay Wilder. What do a lot of these guys have in common? A lot of homo thug behavior, a lot of outside the ring antics, car accidents. Deontay Wilder as well, let's not forget, years ago damn near started a riot and also put children's lives in danger when him and his brother went after Dominic Brazil in the lobby of a venue for a fight, during a fight. And then while Brazil's wife was in the vicinity saying, hey guys, come on, there's kids around, I think Deontay Wilder or his brother said, man, shut the fuck up, you dirty bitch. Something akin to that. So that's what a lot of these guys, like, you know, Haney and Shakur Stevenson, yeah, they have their outside the ring antics too, but they don't, I don't know, for some reason, the culture doesn't seem to be all that attracted towards them. And Keyshawn Davis, apparently, Bob Arum had called him before the fight, you know, in the build-up to this fight, he'd called him the successor to Vasyl Lomachenko. Vasyl Lomachenko, of course, whom retired earlier this week. And Bob Arum saying that, yeah, Keyshawn Davis is going to be the continuation of the Lomachenko legacy, which makes me wonder, are people going to dislike Keyshawn Davis as much as they dislike Lomachenko? Because now he's being overhyped, right? He's being placed in the Lomachenko thing. So that means that Lomachenko was overhyped, and now you're comparing this dude to Lomachenko. There's a little bit of overhyping, overlapping there, it seems. You know? And let's recall that Lomachenko received a lot of hate for basically just people having had the temerity to say that he was good. He didn't do any of what Keyshawn Davis did, or what Deontay Wilder did, or he didn't say any of the things Teofimo Lopez or Ryan Garcia said. He didn't do any of the things Tank Davis did, which is, run over a pregnant woman and then flee the scene when she's bleeding and begging for help. He didn't do any of those things. Never tested positive for steroids or PDs. He was just a guy who some people in the machine, his promoters and the media said he was very, very good. They call him the Matrix. And so that's why people disliked him, apparently. Of course, we know the real reason, or the big reason was he was a white guy starting to dominate in the sport. See, again, people got to put it into context. The mid-2010s, early 2010s and mid-2010s is when we started having an influx of Ukrainian fighters, Russian fighters, Kazakh fighters. Whereas the former Soviet Union didn't send fighters to the professional ranks, that started changing and coalescing by the 2010s. And some people were uncomfortable. Hence the formation of the LDBC, group of racist Afro-Anglos who decided to segregate themselves and generally just discredit anybody that's non-Afro-Anglo. And they got very threatened by the arrival of these Eastern Europeans and Central Asians, and Lomachenko was one of their big targets. Now, Keyshawn Davis, with his actions, I'm starting to see some people keep it real, and they are calling him out for his behavior. But it's just weird that Lomachenko received a lot of dislike for basically doing nothing wrong, not being an abrasive, acerbic personality or character. So it is what it is. So you see Keyshawn Davis there saying Frank Martin was soft and that he was exposed in front of the culture. So it makes me wonder, is this the reason why he acts the way he acts? A lot of jawing, a lot of outside the ring antics, a lot of pushing and shoving. Some people could say, well, he's just trying to sell the fight. There's ways to sell the fight without doing all of this. And that's the way they do it. I don't know. I'm glad to see people calling it out, though. But Keyshawn Davis, evidently, let's not forget, he has some mental issues as well, which seems to be the norm nowadays. A lot of these fighters, Ryan Garcia, Teofimo Lopez. Teofimo Lopez's reason for not fighting Devin Haney, supposedly some sort of mental issues, some top secret mental issues that nobody knows about. And now Keyshawn Davis being locked up in a home years ago and acting like he should still be in the home. What do you guys think? Do you think he should still be in the home? Maybe they should change his meds. Maybe they should continue a little bit more electroshock therapy. I don't know. You guys tell me. Let's go to the comment section here. I'm going to open up the phone lines. Hopefully, because in the morning shows, we haven't been getting so many phone calls as we do in the evening. But seeing as how this is a hot topic, maybe people would be willing to call in. This is the morning show, so make sure to hit the like, hit the like, hit the like. Hopefully you're enjoying the show. Iron Fist says, I believe Lomachenko has had harder tasks in front of him compared to Usyk, not taking away from Usyk's amazing achievements, of course. Well, I mean, there's two sides to the coin, I believe. On the one hand, Lomachenko was relatively undersized compared to some of his opponents. On the other hand, Usyk now is undersized at heavyweight. So I think you can make an argument for both. Sate Soda says they couldn't have a white guy this talented in boxing. No, they really couldn't. Lalo Soto 13 Gaming, shout out to Lalo Soto, says BDA, would Keychain Davis get the same trouble if the target was white or Latino or Asian? I believe because the victim was Afro-Anglo, people are upset. I don't know about that, Lalo Soto. It's difficult for me to sit here and speculate. The hell was that? Anyway, it's difficult for me to speculate on that. But, it's interesting because we can only say that, I can only speculate. Let's see what we got here. Eparoqua says, callers call in and entertain me. Windy City says he needs his prostate checked. Grim Reaper says, apparently 24-0 Gary Russell was too green for a 1-1 Lomachenko coming off a loss. Exactly. Buddy Love says they call Loma White Jesus and Haney Black Jesus. Nobody called Haney Black Jesus, by the way. That's the thing. That's Iron Fist says they hate us Eastern Europeans. They really do. Eastern Europeans really do get a lot of flack for basically just being themselves. It's okay to be white. I think people need to be reminded of that. El Pinche says, has Bob Arum said anything about this? I don't know. I really don't know. I'd love to check out if he had anything to say about that. But I really don't know. Dwayne Styles says BDA fave Mexican is himself. That's well, no. Listen, the favorite. All your idols, they will end up deceiving you, disappointing you. The only icon that will not deceive you is our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. So I'm cool. I'm good. I don't need to be looking up to mere mortals when you get Jesus Christ in your corner. And you got to try to live up to the standards of being a Christian, which is not. It's very difficult. Very difficult. I certainly don't do my best work with it. But anyway, I try. The point is that this is what ended up happening there with Keyshawn Davis in the altercation. And then this is what gets me. So there are people throwing Keyshawn Davis under the bus, but I also saw a lot of comments of people saying, well, you guys didn't keep the same energy with Ryan Garcia. Like, who's you guys? That's what I saw. Somebody just wrote, you guys got to keep the same energy. A very ambiguous comment, right? But that's the thing, the whataboutisms. Well, what about Ryan Garcia? He also this and that. What about Devin Haney? What about these guys? Well, what about him? Does this change what happened on Saturday? People want to make it about, well, what are your standards? What are your standards? I'm curious, what are the society standards? Do we just let this type of stuff happen? And are we okay with it? Now, the guy from Cigar Talk, Najee, who also went after Teofimo Lopez for comments made, by the way. Not even actions, not hitting people, not running over a pregnant woman and leaving her bleeding while she's begging for help. None of that. He was very adroit at calling out Teofimo Lopez. He was very willing and open to doing so. Well, check out what he had to say. He hasn't even commented on the altercation. The only thing I saw from him commenting on the altercation was, hey guys, did this happen? And I think that's the last thing he's tweeted. But this was after Keyshawn Davis missed weight on Friday, and you got to keep in mind Najee from Cigar Talk had actually interviewed Keyshawn Davis in the build-up to the fight. Damn, Keyshawn missed weight by almost 5 pounds and is now getting stripped, and then a facepalm emoji. I hate this for him because it opens the door to not receive credit for what could have been a staple win. Got to maintain your professionalism. A move to 140 seems imminent. All right, first of all, let's go in order here. Let's go backwards in order. What would have been a staple win? How is it a staple win beating a guy who hasn't fought in over a year coming off a blood clot? Like, how does that work? How is that a staple win? Again, so he was already, this indicates to me that they were already getting ready to glaze Keyshawn Davis, just like they did when he beat up an older, smaller, slower Baranchik. And I was giving Keyshawn Davis credit on Friday. I said, hey, listen, at least he's knocking people out. And that was before he missed weight, obviously. But I was saying, hey, listen, he beat Lemos and stop Baranchyk, at least this dude is knocking people out. But now you can see that people were going to glaze him right off the bat if he beat De Los Santos. So again, that's what this guy is saying. Then he goes, I hate this for him because it opens the door to not receive credit. Listen to what he's saying. I hate this for him. As if Keyshawn Davis was just dropped into this situation. As if he didn't have any agency, no free will. Like that. When people address Teofimo Lopez or Ryan Garcia's words, they take him to task. They put him in the hot seat saying, hey, why'd you say this? You're an idiot, blah, blah, blah. And yeah, there are idiots for saying that. So when it comes to those guys, he's, hey, they're adults. They shouldn't be saying this thing. They have free will. But when it's Keyshawn Davis, notice the wording. I hate this for him because it opens the door to not receive credit. As if Keyshawn Davis didn't do this himself. As if he was just thrown into the situation out of his control. Nah, he call him out on his BS. And he sort of tries to do that at the end, gotta maintain your professionalism. But again, he's not saying you. You know what I mean? He's not saying, hey, Keyshawn Davis was unprofessional. There's no declarative sentence in regards to Keyshawn Davis missing weight. So this is the coddling and the treating, the infantilization of Afro-Anglos in America that goes on. They have to wake up and start doing something about this because you'll notice, Naji is an Afro-Anglo, so technically he's not, I don't know if he's racist towards his own kind, but I've seen white people do that. They infantilize Afro-Anglos. That to me is racism. So you can say whatever you want. You can say the N-word, you can make racial jokes, but it's actions that speak louder than words. And when you have a mentality, when you have the mindset that Afro-Anglos are inferior genetically, intellectually, that is racism. That is a definition of racism. But for some reason, Naji sort of, apologizing or sort of cushioning the blow, saying, man, I hate this for Keyshawn Davis. As if Keyshawn Davis is an amoeba that is in the world, that in things are out of its control, it has no free will. Come on. Start calling these people out, man. We got Never Sobers jumping in here. Sobers, are you there? I can't hear you, man.
That's a yes.
That's a yes. All right. Shout out to you, Sobers. Thank you for joining in. What do you think about these comments here from Naji from Cigar Talk?
I didn't get to see anything, BD. I just jumped in.
Okay. Well, let me just repeat what's going on here. Hold on a second. So Naji from Cigar Talk says, damn, Keyshawn missed weight by almost 5 pounds and is now getting stripped. I hate this for him because it opens the door to not receive credit for what could have been a staple win. A staple win over an inactive guy who had a blood clot. But what do you think about that when he says, I hate this for him? He's not even making the declarative sentence in regards to Keyshawn Davis. He's just saying, it's a situation. I hate the situation. As if Keyshawn Davis was just dropped in a situation that's unfavorable to him.
It's like a way to avoid accountability. It's a very certain way of talking. He doesn't say that I hate that Keyshawn Davis did this. I hate that he wasn't dedicated. I hate that he didn't fulfill his contract. I hate that he wasn't professional. I hate that he's not the businessman that he said he was. I hate this for him. I hate that the world is working against him. I hate that his opponent was too much of a bitch to accept the extra money and just get his ass whooped. I hate that Bob Arum's conspiring against him. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's nothing to do with him. He hates that it's happening to him because it's happening to him. And he didn't do it to himself, PDA. Someone did it to him.
Exactly.
That's how I see that.
There you go. So I'm not the only one seeing it that way. And then at the end, he does say, you got to maintain your professionalism. But it's only after the first two other sentences that he goes into it. And again, Naji from Cigar Talk, who knows how he gets these interviews, by the way. He's got to have some agent or something. I don't know. But he
wrestles. He wrestles them.
He wrestles them in the shower. Yeah. No, he always, they all up and they go to town. But yeah, he sort of popped out. I've heard other people say that he popped out of nowhere. None of us had ever heard of him before. Maybe we're out of touch.
I agree. I don't know if he's been in like the hip hop world or movies or what, but out of nowhere, he has a YouTube channel and he's like interviewing some big names. And I don't know if this guy's a really good interviewer. Or, I don't know what his credentials are. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
They're certainly not in boxing.
Well, but see, that's the problem with these YouTubers and social media people that interview fighters, because now you're chasing the high, as it were. You always have to go for the next interview, and a lot of these guys are very volatile. These fighters are very volatile, very thin-skinned. You dare criticize them, they call you a hater, and then they don't give you access to the interviews anymore. So now what do? Are people interested in your opinions? Do you make documentary videos? Do you do like? Can you expand? Are you diverse in your platform? And if you're not, and you're relying on interviews, then you always have to appease these guys. So I think that we're seeing a little bit of that with Naji, who was, like I said, sobers. He was very quick to call out Teofimo Lopez for words that were said. But when it comes to Keyshawn Davis, by the way, that's the other thing. He asked on the night of the fight, he asked, is it true that he jumped, that the blah, blah, blah happened? And people said, yeah. And he hasn't commented on that since, which I believe he's also saving it for later this week. Maybe he's going to do a live podcast or something. He's going to comment on it. But very interesting, too, that it's almost as if he's being very careful and calculated about what he's going to say about Keyshawn Davis so that he can avoid pissing Keyshawn Davis off. That's the way it seems like to me.
Yeah, because why wouldn't you denounce it right then and there like everyone else?
Exactly. And I gotta ask you, sobers. People were very when Munguia a couple of weeks ago tested positive for a PED. A lot of people were quick to throw Ryan Garcia into the mix because Ryan Garcia used to train with Reynoso, Munguia's current trainer, and let's recall that Reynoso had Oscar Valdez in camp. He tested positive for a diuretic. Years ago, Canelo had tested positive for a PED, which he was then absolved of it. His name was cleared, although people still mention the PED thing. Who else? The Martinez guy, he also got pissing hot. So Ryan Garcia,
Cesar Martinez, yeah.
Yeah, Martinez. So Ryan Garcia got thrown into the mix, and people started saying, we got to look into the Munguia. The Reynoso camp. There's something weird going on in the Reynoso camp, which I agree. Now, however, I got to ask, how come more people aren't pointing out what's going on in the Bomac sphere of influence? You've got Clarissa Shields, who's friends with all those guys, Crawford and all those guys, and Shakur Stevenson, who gravitate towards Bomac because, he's a planet unto himself, planet-sized. They like to talk a lot. Keyshawn Davis, Shakur Stevenson, Terrence Crawford, Clarissa Shields, they're very adamant about telling you how great they are on social media. And if you dare criticize them, they go nuts. Then you get Terrence Crawford, who likes to wrestle men, always seen pinning people outside venues, in the street and on lawns, in the gym. He likes to fight people. He also is a guy that weighed 177 pounds when he was a welterweight. And he's now walking around at 190-something pounds, according to him. Then you get Shakur Stevenson from that sphere of influence, missing weight against Conceição. Another guy that didn't even try to make the weight. He just said, I can't make it? All right, fine, whatever. Let's just pay him a couple of Conceição a little money, and let's make the fight happen. Now Keyshawn Davis missing weight too. What is going on with Bomac's team? Are these people are bullies and PED masking because they got the best over there in the USA? And is this a concern?
I think so, bro. But you're not going to hear it at a lot of other places other than this, right? Because everyone's always on their knees for Bomac. They think he's the best trainer ever. They think Crawford is Marvin Hagler reborn, and Shakur Stevenson is Floyd Mayweather on the come up. So all the grimy shit that these guys do, like Andre Ward, for instance, he was a really dirty fighter, right? Who was his little junior for a little bit? Stevenson. Mm-hmm. You see a pattern in the way he fights. He fights dirty. He won't make weight. Same thing with Davis. Now we see him doing the same moves, trying to not make weight, trying to just throw money at the guy and make him take the money. And we even seen Terrence Crawford do the same thing. Like when he starts getting pressure, when he was having a hard time with Amir Khan, what did he do? He started bashing his balls. Mm-hmm. So it seems like a very American thing.
I forgot to mention too, Crawford also damn near started a riot against Jose Benavides Jr. Remember that in the gym? He almost started an altercation with him, and then Benavides Jr. shoved him after all that jawing, and Crawford tried to assault him, tried to bash him with a punch. Actually tried to punch a guy. That could have ruined the fight, by the way. So it shows you he's a guy with low impulse control. He's also a guy that got shot in a dice game years ago. So evidently not the best.
They probably caught him cheating.
Probably, I wouldn't be surprised. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. I mean,
they probably caught him cheating. He had loaded dice, just like he has loaded gloves. Boom, print that, BDA.
You putting that on wax? You putting that on wax?
Hell yeah.
All right.
And another thing too. This little mini scuffle that these guys had, the Davis brothers with the Albright. If you go back like a year or two ago, Shakur Stevenson also had a little mini riot with his family at one of his events.
Thank you for reminding me all of that. Yeah, I was going to bring that up too. I was also going to bring up, Eparoco in the chat says, Bomac also had the gun issue. So Bomac has a gun issue. Shakur Stevenson's family also started a riot after the Valdez fight, his mother and sister. By the way, when they arrested his sister, when they took her away in cuffs, he goes, what about them? He was pointing to some Mexicans in the crowd. Like, again, the whataboutisms. What about them? What about?
Just some guy, the bus boy sweeping up the trash.
Exactly, yeah. What about Jeffrey Epstein? Why you ain't locking him up? What about the people in the Epstein list? Why are they locked up? But and then Bomac had that. Yeah. And let's not forget Nichols. Remember the guy who fought Pacheco a couple of months ago? How much jawing they were doing back then too. Remember that? Bomac screaming blah 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 in the background, doing a lot of jawing. They're very abrasive personalities and characters, and people haven't made the connection yet between that about that Bomac camp. And and let's not forget Fruit Basket Gate. Keyshawn Davis is fighting against Baranchyk. Oh, he sent me a fruit basket with that racist message and racist fruit. Like, what? That was never investigated. And then when Baranchyk's promoter or manager or whatever tried to press Bomac about it, it's like, hey, listen, we didn't send it. Let's get to the bottom of this. Bomac's like, don't worry about it. He's smiling. First they're all angry, and then he's like, don't worry about it. Well, which one is it? So
that's weird.
A lot of strange, and thank you for reminding me about that, Sobers, about the Shakur Stevenson riot thing, because it's true. These people are always starting something, and no one's made the connection yet that it's all related to Bomac. Oh, hey, Clarissa Shields' brother too. Remember that he assaulted an old man.
Oh yeah, he knocked out that girl's trainer.
Right. So I mean, come on, man. We just pointed out 8. I don't know, man. I don't know these female boxers, but Sobers, we just pointed.
But he sent the dude to the hospital. He sent like a 55-year-old dude to the hospital.
Jeez, Louise. I mean, come on. We just pointed out 8 instances of these people going nuts. Are people gonna call it out? I mean, I don't know. Doesn't seem like it. But I want to go back. I mean, again, we got a lot to talk about. This is the BDA morning show. Hopefully, people are enjoying it. Hold on, who keeps messaging me? All right, FST.
Who is that? Is that a
hold on.
Fight Cuck Talk?
Come on. Hold on. It's going to take us to another room, all right?
All right.
Oh, actually, it's not. What the fuck? How does that work? I usually, if you try to invite...
He's already in here, I think.
Oh, well, yeah, maybe. Maybe. All right, we got FST jumping in. FST, were you trying to call me?
Yes, I was trying to call him via Discord instead of phones because it's a lot cheaper in New Zealand.
Well, try not to do that because then as I'm doing the show, I keep hearing pings. I go, what the fuck's going on? So just don't try not to interrupt. But yeah, listen, we're talking about we're still on the Keyshawn Davis thing here. What the fuck? We're still on the Keyshawn Davis thing here. What are your thoughts on the whole debacle, the missing weight, the near riot?
Oh yeah, I can't wait to see the little excuse that he's going to cook up for them.
Oh, Jesus Christ. I can't really add anything that everyone hasn't said already other than I don't know if Keyshawn's ever going to recover from this because no one's going to trust him again. His career is only getting started and he hasn't even made big money yet in his career. And I mean, Top Rank's not going to cut him from a contract because he's a big name for them. But I mean, he could not have made it worse. From missing weight to the way he acted afterwards. And also, shout-outs to Nair Albright. I did pick Davis to beat him, but I did say it was going to be competitive. So, hats off to that guy. And then he tries to jump the guy who beat his brother. Like, it's just terrible on every single level. Like, every single American channel I've seen is condemning the guy. And, yeah, I don't think if he ever recovers from this. He's a clown forever, as far as I'm concerned.
It's interesting because you know what, man? I was expecting you to say something like, "Well, I disagree with you guys. You know, he's the other fighters have caused riots and gotten into this type of behavior."
I thought he was gonna come in here and be like, "I hate this for Keyshawn."
Yeah, exactly.
Right. I hate this. Look. I'm not even gonna listen to this. Okay? Did you just call me to make fun of me on your stream?
No. Well, first of all, I called you. You called me. So I said, okay, if I'm curious to hear FSC talk. But yeah, man, because On Friday, you were saying, we were criticizing Davis, and you said, well, he's just trying to sell the fight. So I thought maybe you were going to say something similar to that. Like, hey, he's just trying to sell the fight, guys. We've had other people do this before. No, nothing wrong with that.
Well, there was nothing wrong with that. He was just acting like a dork. But, I mean, that's just him. I said it multiple times on that stream. I don't think Davis actually processes what he says. I think he just says a bunch of words. And, I mean, this is what I've been waiting to say since he missed weight, BDA, on your show, is that he's more interested in talking than being professional. And again, once you put that bullseye on your back and you say to the world, hey, this is who I am, this is what I do, I talk more than I focus on fighting, then you're cooked as far as I'm concerned, because this was just again terrible on every single level.
Well, the reason why I said that on Friday, that he wasn't just being a dork. Believe it or not, FST, we know how to read people more or less. It takes a little bit of time, obviously. We can't judge a book right off the cover, right off the bat. But when you hear a guy talk enough, and when you see his behavior enough, and you analyze that behavior long enough, you start saying, okay, there's something up with this guy. The jawing, the constant jawing, the altercations, the crazy eyes, the fact that he was locked up in a home for a while. He wasn't just acting like, and even you said that on Friday, you said he's got low, I said, oh, okay, so you're saying he's got low impulse control. I think I heard you groan, like, BDA is out of his mind. And look at him now. We were right. He's out of control. But you thought he was just trying to sell the fight being a dork.
Well, I didn't say he was doing anything that... I just said that he wasn't doing anything like ultimately terrible. I just thought, okay, if he wants to be cringe, then be cringe. I don't really have much interest in trash talk, as I've said this multiple times. So him talking a lot and again just acting goofy and everything is what it is. It doesn't bother me. But once you start being unprofessional and missing weight and trying to assault somebody who you didn't even fight after you beat up your brother, I mean, that's horrible. So I'm condemning the guy. I was on an American show earlier today, American New Zealand.
Which one?
And they said the new person, new stream.
Which one?
But I was. They call themselves Jab Queen Boxing. They're very heavily into Tank Davis, so you probably won't like them.
But how do you know whether I like it or not?
Well, you're always criticizing Tank Davis, and
maybe I want to hear the opposite. Maybe anyway. I'd like to hear the opposite view, the opposite point of view. But go ahead.
Well, they're just. She's a bit of a fangirl, but anyway, she's cool. But she was saying the same thing, that I was being too nice to Keyshawn Davis, but I don't see how. The guy acted like a complete jerk off, and I don't think he deserves anything after this. So, I mean, let him be a prospect forever, as far as I'm concerned.
What I'm trying to get at is that people can see behavior and say, okay, this guy, there's something up with this guy, there's something wrong with him, and it turns out that he's got low impulse control. But we had people like you. He's just trying to sell the fight, guys. It's nothing wrong with that. Doesn't bother me. Wow. It's not about whether it bothers you. It's about whether you can actually see. Do you have the ability to see that there's something up with these people? And that's what we were saying earlier. And I'm pretty sure you're going to disagree with it. That there's something up with that Bomax sphere of influence. There's something up with these guys. They like to jaw a lot. They get out of control. They take it overly personal. There's something up with these people, and you're going to start seeing it as their careers unfold. Unfortunately. By the way, we got to talk about something here, because the Albright was very shaken up when he was describing what happened after the fight. You could tell he's not used to these type of confrontations, but shout out to him, because not enough people are talking about Albright. The fact that he went to Kelvin Davis's hometown, outworked him, outboxed him, should have been a unanimous decision. I don't know what these judges. We got to find out the name of the judge who had it a draw, because it really is.
Hometown judging.
Was that?
Oh, it was just hometown judging. And you're right, not enough people are talking about him, because he wasn't expected to win. But if you knew anything about Naoya Albright, this was going to be competitive the entire time, because he actually gave Keyshawn Davis a very close fight. That was a majority decision in Davis's favor. So I mean, hats off to him. I think he's proven himself to be a very worthy future contender.
He's a pro. He knows how to fight southpaws. He wasn't intimidated by that. He knew how to. We've seen him fight as a counterpuncher against Jermaine Ortiz and against Keyshawn Davis. And here we saw him coming forward. So he's a solid pro. Might not be pound for pound. Might not ever be the best lightweight in the world. But he's got skills. And he's a jack of all trades. Check this out. This is him after the fight live on Instagram, I believe. Hold on a second. That's not it.
Ever since they took my gram, I just looked.
Sing y'all something. Alright. It's hard for me to say this, but it's come from my heart. Been a long time coming. We've been fell apart. I wanna work this out. I don't think you're gonna change it. I think it's best we should go.
And when did Marvin Gaye get in there? I thought that was Albright there for a second, but no, I thought it was Marvin Gaye actually. But it turns out that's a boxer. Hey, super talented, super talented. And let me tell you, well, actually there was a note there that he sort of missed. But who am I to judge? I can't sing word shit. But I'm glad to see that boxers have something to fall back on, and I'm glad to see that the boxing community can sing. Over here at BJ Boxing, we got a little bit of a singing sensation ourselves. Shadowban, aka Fighter Spirit, we haven't seen him in a while. He can sing too. Check this out. Hold on a second. Shadowban singing here too, giving Albright a run for his money.
I don't wanna leave my baby alone, and I don't want nobody else to hold.
Sobers, is that really Fighter Spirit, or you think that's a clone? Do you think that's a Donald Marshall clone right there?
Say that again?
Is that really a Fighter Spirit, or is that a Donald Marshall clone? Because remember, he's got multiple
that's
clones.
him.
That's him, yeah? Because I knew he could rap, but I didn't know he could sing this good.
I think that's like Shadowban number 17.
Yeah, maybe, yeah. He got wasted in the Clone Wars.
That's a chance I'll take.
Damn, Fighter Spirit, aka Shadowban, he's pretty good, man. Handsome Mechanic Sam Dad, that's Little Torta. No, that's not Little Torta. Little Torta is the other one. That's the clone number 18. Little Torta is the clone that hung out with the Bomac. But listen, speaking of Bomac, this was supposed to be Keyshawn Davis's coming out party. This was supposed to be where everybody was gonna lick his taint. What a great fighter he is, and it turned out to be the complete opposite, to the point where even Timothy Bradley's throwing him under the bus. So there's this video that Top Rank released that is really aging badly, but it's also letting us know that something was up in the Bomac camp, as we're trying to say. So hold on a second. Yeah, so what's going on here? yeah, so, shout out to CC. Who is that, Sergeant, or is that Blaze? Yeah, I saw that photo, man. Shout out to him. And by the way, there was also Sean Zittle, who like Najee from Cigar Talk, was sort of trying to cushion the blow there for Keyshawn Davis. And he sort of said something like, Keyshawn Davis missing weight, blah, 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 blah. And then at the end he goes, not a good look. That was his scathing criticism of Keyshawn Davis. And Juan Blaze, a.k.a. John Blaze, hashtag CCD, called him out on it, said, not a good look. That's some soft-ass shit right there. And then the guy, Zittle, replied with a video, which, I mean, who the fuck's going to watch an entire video? It's like sort of trying to say, no, I call him out on it. But again, these guys depend on interviews, so they don't want to rock the boat too much.
But yeah, can I just say something on that?
Sure.
Because Sean Zittle said that on a stream with Radio Raheem, and Raheem called it like it is. He said from the very start, could not have been handled worse. He was just going scorched earth on him. He was giving him the treatment he deserved. And Sean, look, much love to Sean, but okay, is this guy, we know where his loyalties lie. And I go to his Twitter at times and he's still tweeting out about how Floyd Mayweather didn't get a certain award or whatever. Like, come on, Sean, we know what you're about, brother.
Which is what?
Bias in favor of a lot of American fighters, it seems.
Well, listen,
but I got nothing but respect for Sean Zittle. Okay, but
wait a minute, how can you have nothing but respect? How can you have nothing but respect when you're clearly saying he's biased, man? Come on.
Because we're all biased to an extent. It's just with him, because he's such a high-profile analyst. It's just funny, okay? Because I thought the exact same thing when he said not a good look. I just thought, okay, where's Teddy Atlas when you need him?
But I mean, you're saying everyone's biased to a certain extent. I don't know, man. To that extent, to the extent that Jean Zittel is biased. I mean, I remember he started the whole Inoue thing. The whole Inoue is cheating thing. He didn't even inadvertently. Highly suspicious. Based off what? Because Inoue just said, "Wow, that's a lot of tests."
Well, I heard him explain himself recently after he saved the May 5th weekend, and his explanation made sense. I mean, it sounded again when I heard that, I thought, okay, would you be saying the same thing if Floyd? Did you say the same thing when Floyd had that weird IV situation before the Pacquiao fight? Probably not. But his explanation made sense. Again, I don't think Sean was malicious with his tweets about in a way. They just probably came across that way.
Well, listen, I mean, that's your perception, that's your opinion, but you got to recall that you're here with Never Sobers, who's the master of psychological and sexual manipulation. If he says otherwise, you better listen to him. He's got a better understanding and grasp of people and what they're about. What do you say about Jean Zittel there, Sobers?
I think he's a sexual deviant, and he should be put on the list.
Wait a minute. What's going on here? It's a morning show. Fellas, don't forget to hit the like. Shout out to Sobers for sending me this. So I mentioned that Albright can sing. He's got a set of pipes on him. We mentioned Fighter Spirit sings. We forgot to say, shout out to Sobers for sending me this clip here. Our very own Telkines Pancration. Shout out to Telkines Pancration. Go check out his channel. He can also sing with the best of them. Hold on a second. Give me 2 seconds here. I'm trying to find the... Where's my link here? Okay, here we go. Check this out.
Mexicanos Cristo la guerra, al ser a prestar el perdón. Ir temblesos entró la tierra, al Señor rugir del cañón. Ir temblesos entró la tierra, al Señor rugir del cañón.
He's not even Mexican. He doesn't speak Spanish as far as I know. He's saying the words correctly, almost correct pronunciation, or about as good as you can get for a non-Mexican. He knows the words, he knows the lyrics to the Mexican anthem, and most important, look at those notes. American Idol, watch out. Telkines Pancration is coming. All right, shout out to Sobers for that clip right there. Excuse me?
Just one thing before I go today, I just thought it's worth noting American boxing for the future doesn't look too good. With the amount of fighters missing weight, like Keyshawn, Shakur, Tank Davis back in the day, and also his unprofessionalism in general, and the future of the sport is not looking good.
I just realized you guys couldn't hear the audio that I was playing, so sorry about that. Because when I go on Friday, Open Lines Friday, I change the settings, and then when I go live, I'm supposed to change it back so you guys can.
Yeah, I could hear it. I just listened to it on YouTube. So the listeners heard it.
What about that sing? No, well, yeah, I know the listeners, but I'm talking about you guys on the Discord. But what was I gonna say? Yeah, well, I mean, listen, American boxing is what it is. They got no heavyweights, they got no light heavyweights, they got no world-class middleweights. Most of it is concentrated in the lightweight, some welterweight, junior welterweight. It's pretty much it. Obviously, they've never been big in the lower weights. So they're in dire straits. For as much as they like to talk about Shakur Stevenson and Jaron Ennis is another guy that don't be surprised when he misses weight in the near future. Even at 154, I don't even know if he's going to be able to make that. So, but I will say that Ennis is a guy that outside the ring, he doesn't act like a goofball the way Keyshawn Davis and the rest of his brothers do. He doesn't act like Gervonta Davis, Devin Haney, Shakur Stevenson, all those guys. Those guys act like clowns.
Oh, yeah. Well, it's. Acting stupid outside of the ring is one thing. Like, it's not professional, but this is boxing. You're not always going to get model citizens. But it's when you pull not just unprofessionalism, but the dumbest of the dumb, and you brag about it, and you haven't even made good money yet. Like, that is just next level stupid.
By the way, this is the video that I was talking about here. This is Bomac. This is in the build-up to the Keyshawn Davis fight. Check out what Bomac has to say here about Keyshawn Davis' professionalism.
Around what you're trying to accomplish. Even the coaches. Get up, eat, sleep, think, boxing. Ain't no halfway, ain't no part way. It's got to be 100% in order to get to that level.
So he's talking about you got to be dedicated to the sport, blah 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 blah. I mean, and then Keyshawn Davis went ahead and did what he did on Friday and on Saturday.
I thought he was talking about how to handle yourself at the buffet.
Come on, that's what those trophies are in the background, by the way.
Or not at all.
That's what those trophies are. Those aren't boxing trophies. That's all eating contest trophies. The fucking cannoli contest, hot dog contest.
All right, BDO, while you had me on, will you take a slightly...
Things in
sorry,
his life.
I thought...
Was that?
Oh, sorry, I thought you had finished playing the clip. Never mind.
No, we got a whole bunch of them we got to watch here. Because again, this is germane to the situation here about how hard they were glazing and licking Davis and Bomac's taint. They love Bomac, by the way. The media loves Bomac. He can do no wrong. Again, they don't see that this dude, first of all, anytime you have somebody that's obese like that, he's got mental issues. And second of all his fighters are volatile characters. They're all trash talkers. They all take boxing personally. It's not just about, well, I'm highly competitive. No, it's tied to their identity.
Continue to be the better self as a do right by his money and keep God in his life. He should be all right.
Ever since me
Okay, so he's talking about what it's like to be a man, what it takes to be a man, right?
Me and Bomac got together, it means chemistry. It been chemistry, like we always been together. Me and Bomac understand each other. Like for this fight, he was saying a game plan. My little brother I'm right here, my little brother next to me. Look
at that, they're eating chips in the gym. See that red bag there? That's one of Keyshawn Davis' brother. I don't know if that's Kelvin, Keon, Ikea Davis, but it was one of them.
Brothers told Bomac, he said, Keyshawn said the exact game plan to me last night. Come on, man. It's like the third, fourth time we did something like this. But I got you, coach.
Look at this. This is in the build-up to the Los Santos fight. He's eating like chips in the gym. I think Bucho pointed this out on Friday, but it just bears repeating. Look at him. Stuffing his face with food the way he was at the fight on Saturday. But hey, I hate this for Keyshawn, man. I hate the situation for him. I hate it for him. I hate it. He's not responsible for any of this. He's a little kid.
Well, according to what's the name of that guy again? He's some reporter on YouTube.
Cigar Talk.
Right. Well, never heard of him, but according to that biased dipshit, of course, it's not down to Keyshawn, but yeah, he's just we all know how he's planning to make money in this YouTube thing. Yeah, I honestly did not know about Keyshawn eating chips in the gym. I mean, that is absurd, and I don't know much about Bomac's fighters not having discipline issues. I mean, that have problems with discipline, and sometimes that can be a trainer thing, but sometimes not. But yeah, I don't know about Keyshawn because he's not making enough money to where Bomac has to where if he cut Keyshawn from his stable, he wouldn't take a significant financial hit, in my opinion. So that is weird. Maybe Keyshawn is just so stubborn he doesn't listen to anyone, or maybe Bomac just didn't want to tell him what to do, or maybe it's a combination of all three. I don't know what to make of it.
Well, listen, you got Shakur Stevenson, who's in that periphery of Bomac missing weight. You got Terence Crawford being a weight bully, walking around 177 pounds when he was a welterweight. I mean, there's weighing 69 pounds, I think, for the Madrimov fight. These guys are on some weight issue thing. Maybe the snack thing. Al Cuerpo Boxing says, I saw Keyshawn in snack pictures, I think. I tried looking to see if he's a snack-sponsored fighter, and I couldn't find his name on the snack thing. So it's got to be something else, man. It's got to be something. It's got to be, again, there's more than just one Victor Conte in the United States. These people have perfected PED use since time immemorial. The Mexicans and other people get caught because they're third world countries, but the United States, that's a first world country. You know they got the best stuff. Remember, none of the Victor Conte's athletes ever got caught. None of them ever pissed hot. None of them ever had a hot blood test. Everything came out because the guy was throwing out receipts in his trash, and the guy who was investigating found them. But again, it's easy to well, not easy, but if you know what you're doing, you can mask PED use. But people are under some illusion that now only the people that get caught are using it. Everyone else is clean. Let's continue hearing here let's continue hearing this whole thing here because we got a lot to get to here. This is from the documentary. So you see Keyshawn Davis there eating chips.
I got you, coach. And I said, see, Bomac, that's like our third time us doing that. But it's this time I got a witness. Because I always told Bomac, I said, Bomac, what you telling me right now?
Okay, so now they're just, reminiscing about, the what was, right? Check this out.
Come on. Bomac outside of boxing is like a younger grandfather, because he's not that old in my eyes. He watches my son. Honestly, he babysits my son. You know what I'm saying?
He babysits my son. FST, wouldn't you be a little bit worried leaving your infant, your toddler with Bomac? What happens if Bomac somehow can't open the refrigerator and starts getting hungry?
Oh my God. BDO, you just had to do that to me. I don't know. I don't think Keyshawn's even serious about this stuff. I think he's just saying, what can I say to try and cause a stir for this day? I'm pretty sure that's what Keyshawn says to himself every day.
Yeah, man. Well, listen, it's not enough people in my eyes are criticizing him. Sobers, what do you think about that? I don't know if you heard, but Keyshawn Davis says that Bomac is like a younger grandfather and that he lets him babysit his son. Would you let Bomac, looking at how his fighters behave, would you let Bomac babysit your son?
No, I'd be afraid of him throwing some ketchup on my baby and trying to eat him.
There you go. See, I'm not the only one who thought
throw some barbecue sauce on that. That's a meal, baby.
Yeah, and then the rest of it, you get yourself a bone. There's some meat on that bone. You get yourself a stew. He has it all figured out. All these
you get yourself some potatoes, a little bit of baby meat.
Exactly.
Throw some vegetables. Got yourself a stew, baby.
Exactly. There you go. He has all the tricks, man. But then check this out. Hold on a second. Let me fast forward here.
Open it up. You know what I'm saying? Bomac is a DB3 level.
When I first met him, he was at the Olympic training.
Look at that. That's young Keyshawn Davis right there. That's the first time Bomac met him. And I don't know about you guys, but young Keyshawn Davis, he sort of looks a little bit like a thin Prop Joe from The Wire. Look at that. Don't tell me that's not. Look at that. The glasses, the hair. That's a thin Prop Joe right there.
The same doo-doo twisties.
The what? Oh yeah, the doo-doo. Yeah,
he's just missing the glasses.
The same doo-doo twisties.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, the same haircut. No, he has the glasses. You can't see it because it's a little blurry, but he has glasses on. And I tell you what, he keeps hanging out with Bomac. He's gonna end up looking like this.
Oh, well, actually, those are going to be the jokes after this event. Keyshawn's about to show up looking like Bomac for his next fight. But have we even talked about when his next fight will be? Because I said it when you first called me to be on the show. I don't think Top Rank's going to rush to book him into any fight after the stunt that he pulled. And there is a possibility the commissions may fine and suspend him for what he pulled backstage.
Sobers, what do you think about that?
I just think it's funny how he was like, oh, when he called me onto the show, when we already pointed out that you called him, but whatever.
we're gonna get into the technicalities here, but it's interesting because the ESPN deal is about to end. I think it's June 21st. That's the last ESPN Top Rank telecast. I was thinking Abdullah Mason, whom we haven't even talked about yet because we're still on the Keyshawn Davis thing, but they're talking about, hey, when are we going to see you next? I'm thinking, yeah, where are we going to see you next? Because Top Rank doesn't have hasn't secured a TV deal yet. So who knows where we're going to see Keyshawn Davis, Abdullah Mason, Navarrete, Torres. Who are they going to be fighting? So that's a good question right there. Shout out to Anthony Lopez, by the way, for his contribution with the Super Chat. He says, what if Bomac has a heart attack while babysitting? That's a great point too, man. You got a guy who's clearly compromised. First of all, forget about him carrying handguns inside potato chip bags, trying to sneak that out of countries, getting locked up. His fighters acting abrasively, very dangerous fighters, ready to attack at a moment's notice outside the ring. You got to worry about all that. Now you got to worry about this fatso too. What if he drops dead while he's watching your toddler? Shout out to Anthony Lopez. That's a great point, man. Great point.
What if he falls on your toddler?
Well, I mean, you know what, man? These are all nightmare scenarios right there, man. Would not take a risk. Would not risk it. And okay, so let's go to another clip here real quick because we're spending too much time on Key, as FST likes to call him.
Fat ass.
Yeah. Yeah. All right, let's this final clip here. Oh yeah, look at this. This is why Bomac's fighters can't make weight. They follow the leader, as it were. Check this out. Hold on a second. Come on. Where is my? I think I erased the ability to show you guys what I'm watching here. Hold on, give me 2 seconds here.
I think are you talking about that clip of him stuffing his face like an animal?
You mean at the fight?
Yeah, where this like the popcorn's falling all over him, and he's like just like licking it off his chin.
Well, I showed that earlier before you got here. Okay, but
can I just ask why are we focusing so much on how fat Bomac is?
Because it's germane to the situation that these guys can't make weight. They're weight bullies too. Like people don't call Terence Crawford a weight bully. He weighed 177 pounds when he was gonna fight Jeff Horn at 147. So I don't know if you follow Chinese philosophy, but when it comes to Confucianism, it says the leader sets the example. He leads by example. Bomac is the leader. So if he's a fatso, like Eddie Reynoso, I've called him out on that too. How can you be a trainer spending time in the gym? You can't take 15 minutes to do a little high-intensity interval training, lose weight? So there you go. That's why we're talking about Bomac's weight.
No, but also BDA, it speaks to the fact of the lack of discipline in the camp, right?
Exactly.
These guys don't know how to act. This dude doesn't know how to control his fucking mouth. And these dudes don't know how to control themselves either. Shakur Stevenson's already lost a belt on the scale. What's his name? Keyshawn Davis just lost his belt on the scale. These guys don't know how to act, bro.
Listen, I know FST is probably going to think we're being unfair to Bomac, but just look at this clip. Don't take my word for it. Check out this clip.
Hard work pay off though.
Hard work pays off, and then look at that. Bomac sitting down.
Go, pick it up. Pick it up.
Yeah, I want to listen to that.
Look at this. These dudes are working hard. They're killing themselves doing ab crunches and all that. You gotta know at the end of that training session when they get to the abs, those abs are burning, the legs are burning, everything's burning. And this dude, look at him.
Who got the music?
He's worried about the music.
Where my snacks at?
I mean, come on, man.
BDA. Okay, again, I had not seen that clip. I was not going to defend anybody, okay? So let's just get that straight. I just don't think that I don't know how good of a trainer that Bomac is when again he hasn't got his fighters messing up like this. I think this falls all on Keyshawn because I frankly don't care how unprofessional your trainer is in his personal life. There's no excuse to miss weight as badly as he did. Like, this was way worse than Shakur missing weight. And, I mean, the worst case I can think of missing weight recently is Gilberto Ramirez when he was supposed to fight. What was that? I forget who it was.
Smith.
But he missed weight by, like...
I think it was Joe Smith or yeah.
No, it wasn't Joe Smith. But anyway, he missed weight almost by an entire weight class, and it was just terrible. So... I hear what you're saying. Bomac's got his own issues, but I don't care what issues Bomac has. This is all on Keyshawn.
You don't seem to understand that the reason why we bring Bomac up is because so many of his fighters in his sphere of influence have this behavior have this behavioral, what's the word I'm looking for here? Disconnect. It's not just about the missing weight. It's about everything. It's a whole package. And you don't seem to see it now, but you're going to, just like you didn't see it with Keyshawn Davis on Friday, and then it finally took the rest of the world to see it with you along with it, to see, hey, yeah, there's something wrong with her. You're going to see it with Bomac too. The jawing, the handguns hidden in potato chips, trying to escape the country with a handgun, trying to sneak handguns into countries, the riots that always take place, the weight bullying. This is all, that's the smoke is there. The signs are there. You either choose to see them or you don't. Right now, you're burying your head in the sand.
Okay, well, no, I'm not okay. I'm not even going to debate this. I'm not burying my head in the sand.
Because you can't.
I didn't excuse any of Keyshawn's attitude at the press
It sounded like that to me a little bit, but I'll let you clarify. Go ahead.
I just didn't see it as a big deal. If you want to act like an idiot, you act like an idiot. So
didn't see it as a big deal. Well, again, it's indicative that it's how you choose to see it. Then
I feel like you're trying to set me up, BDA. But every time I come on your show, by the way, this is kind of funny. Everybody in the chat just wants to insult me. So
I mean, I'm not insulting you. I'm not insulting you. I'm just putting you. I'm curious to find out your thought process. Was that?
I'm just saying the whole chat likes to make fun of me.
Well, listen, I told you the first time you got here.
Why are you reading the chat, man?
Yeah, forget. You're supposed to be focusing on what. See, this is now I understand why you're unable to process some of the things I'm saying, or even reply and argue properly to some of the things. You're too busy reading the chat. I told you weeks ago. Stop reading the chat. Forget about what they say about you. Okay. Focus on the arguments that I'm making here, because I know you think I'm biased. You think I'm biased towards Mexicans and blah blah blah. Listen to what I'm actually saying here.
I never said that.
I mean, come on. We all know what time it is with you. Listen to what I'm saying. Bomac has a history of his fighters and people in his sphere of influence being weight bullies, weighing 177 pounds when they're fighting at welterweight, starting riots. What's his name? Crawford against Jose Benavidez Jr., constantly egging him on, almost trying to get into a fight with him at the gym, trying to punch Benavidez after Benavidez finally had enough and pushed him. Shakur Stevenson, his family starting a riot after the Valdez fight. Shakur Stevenson punching a woman at a car wash. You got Nichols, former convict, again, jawing it up and down against Pacheco. You probably thought that was just trying to sell the fight. But when you put all that together, and I even left out a couple of things, now with Keyshawn Davis, you're starting to see a pattern. That's all I'm saying.
Okay, I got you.
I mean, I don't know if you do, though. I don't know if you're just saying that because you want to end this conversation, or if you really see that there's a behavioral problem going on. But I guess it's going to take more from the Bomac camp before you finally come to this realization. Fellas, don't forget to hit the like. Yes.
Well, okay. I guess to answer that point, no, I don't disagree with anything that you're saying. I mean, all of Keyshawn's antics, yes, a couple of days ago, proved to me that there's a massive character problem there. And like I said before, I don't think he's going to get rid of this character problem. So, no, I agree with you, but I guess I just didn't maybe see things the same way you did the week of the fight. That's all I'll say.
And I'm not saying I'm fucking a behavioral specialist here. What all I'm saying is when you see it once, twice, 3, 4, 5 times, you start thinking, maybe there's something wrong here. Maybe. By the way, Butcher just sent me this.
Okay.
Butcher just sent me this. He said he saw this next to Bomac in training camp. Look at that. I think he's right. I think I saw Bomac sitting down, holding court with everybody. I think that's what happened there.
That's one of those weasel Muppets from one of the Star Wars films.
That's right. The implication being Bomac's a fat ass. But listen, I wanted to get to what else do we have here? Because I'm looking at the everything I had. Okay, so we mentioned I showed the Keyshawn Davis Photoshop thing, him gorging on food at the event, eating chips in camp, the altercation. Yeah, I think, okay, so yeah, listen, that's all we've got there on him. I think we already spent an hour talking about this debacle. Shout out to everybody out there. Don't forget to hit the like. Let me read a couple of comments here. In the morning, people are up, they're listening. Shout out to Matt Chet. She says, Bomac and Kinahan are silent partners. Bomac don't play. I never heard of that, but shout out to Matt Chet. Treetop says, cut your own grass. Casamigo says, FST just doesn't know because they're more civilized in New Zealand and Australia. Are people more civilized over in your neck of the woods, FST?
That's what I hear. I hear that New Zealanders are softies.
Well, I mean, the population also has to be, I suspect it's lower, right? It's a smaller population.
We've only got like 5 million, 4.5 million people in New Zealand. So, yeah, population is tiny.
There you go. Iron Fist says, anytime you see a fat dude doing something remotely physical, it seems impressive because you don't expect them to be able to move at all. Yeah, there you go. The bar is set low for some of these fatsos. Blue Collar Sports TV, shout out to Del Boy, aka Blue Collar Sports TV, says, possibly the most enlightened chat on YouTube. Come on. Al Cuerpo Boxing says, Bomac is actually very impressive doing gym work at such a weight. Most guys can't physically do that. Well, I mean, he's not even holding the mitts, if you notice. He's holding those ping pong looking things because that puts less strain. That's less strenuous on the joints. So if I had to guess, I would assume that Bomac's already feeling it. He has to be feeling it on the knees too, being that overweight. That shit ain't good, man. And here's the other thing. He used to be a professional boxer. And he was fat as a professional boxer too. So he's been fat for a long time. That didn't start overnight. Or that didn't happen overnight. Bernard says, people today seem to have more issues with words than actions. Thank you, Bernard. That's what I've been saying for a while now. It used to be actions speak louder than words. But nowadays, it's words that dictate how people judge you. Because I don't know, they take him seriously, way too seriously. They'll demonize a guy for saying something or making a joke. But if he does have something, if he actually does something like starting a riot, putting children in danger, running over a pregnant woman and then fleeing the scene while she's bleeding and asking for help, that's that now. That's, hey, listen, let's not talk about that. Let's talk about these dudes saying something. Okay, speaking of that, let's move on from this. I'm sickened that we actually had to spend so much time talking about this. I'm looking to blame FST somehow for this. But listen, we also had a whole bunch of other fights taking place. Abdullah Mason defeating the dangerous Nakatila within 5 rounds. Okay, Nakatila ended up he had a cut on his eyelid, and he said he couldn't continue. I didn't see enough people talking about this, but did Nakatila quit? Usually people throw the word quit around. I didn't see it this time. Well, what do you think that's about?
Well, I think people use the word quitter when it suits them, whether they like a fighter or not. Like when Andrade looked like he was quitting against David Benavidez, people gave him crap non-stop. People still give him crap for that, even though it was very understandable. Here, it looks like he had enough. Looks like he didn't want no more. Maybe it's because it's prospect level and people were picking Abdullah Mason to win anyway. That's my guess. I mean, it looked like he had enough, is what it is.
Well, I mean, I don't blame him. I mean, I tell you what I liked about Mason. Some people could say, well, what? He was expected to beat him. I mean, Tito Mercado had already stopped Nakatila before that. Murataya had already stopped Nakatila. But this is the same guy Nakatila, that terrorized Shakur Stevenson back in 2021. Because remember, Shakur Stevenson got caught with a right hand. And he said, after the fight, Shakur Stevenson said, I got hit with something. I didn't like it, so I just decided to back foot bitch it. So this dude is walking through those same right hands. He's younger than Shakur Stevenson. And yet he was able to walk Nakatila down. So I'm always happy to see a prospect being able not only to fight on the outside or hold the center of the ring, but actually back a fighter up. So I'm curious to see what Mason has to offer in the future. We don't know where we're going to see him in the future because, like I said, Top Rank and ESPN are parting ways later on this month. So if we're going to see him, hopefully we can see him somewhere. Hopefully it's not pay-per-view. But that's what we get there with Abdullah Mason. Looking good. A lot of people then started saying that Abdullah Mason might be the next American hope now that Keyshawn Davis seems to be crapping the bed. What do you guys think? Is Abdullah Mason too green right now to fight Keyshawn Davis? Or would you pick Mason even right now to beat a guy like Keyshawn Davis?
No, I definitely wouldn't pick. Again, as much as we're ripping on Keyshawn, rightfully so, he would beat Abdullah Mason. I mean, Abdullah Mason's very impressive, no doubt. I really look forward to seeing where he goes next. But these things take time, guys, and he's still a kid at the end of the day. So all in good time. Let's manage him carefully, and he's with Top Rank, so they're probably going to do that well. He's going to be a star, it seems. But actually, no. Let me backtrack on that. Let me backtrack on my words there. I was saying the same thing about Keyshawn, that he'll be a star. So let's wait and see. He's got the signs there, but he's got a lot of work to do.
Well, you just remind me of something. Keyshawn Davis, somebody said, man, now it seems like people are throwing Keyshawn Davis under the bus, because some people are, the way some people, not everybody, but the way some people are saying it on Twitter is it's almost as if Keyshawn Davis' career is over. And I think they're in the heat of the moment now.
No, I'm...
Not you, but I think I've heard people say that, and I'm thinking, look, he fucked up. All he needs to do is come back, look impressive, and people are going to forget. I mean, listen, people forgive fighters who do things like running pregnant women over and fleeing the scene, or harassing women at a car wash and then punching those people. People forgive all that. So I think they're going to be able to forgive Keyshawn Davis. So, I think people are sort of are getting cut in the moment a little bit too much. And that's coming from me, by the way, who's hypercritical of that.
Yeah, well, there's a difference between your career being over and your career being over as a star. And I don't think Keyshawn's ever going to be the star that he possibly could have been, because, well, again, because of everything. This was just so bad on so many levels. He made his promoter look bad. He made his opponent look bad. He made everybody look bad, and he rubbed salt in the wound and like times 10 with his antics after the fight. So I agree with you 100%. People are very quick to forget, but on the other hand, this is something which, just because of how many ways it was done, missing weight, assaulting not even your opponent, an opponent who beat your brother afterwards, it's just, and also having no shame, it's just something which I don't think the sport will ever trust him again. So that's why his career is definitely not over, but as a star of the sport, it could be, in my opinion.
By the way, excuse me, I forgot to say one last thing on this whole debacle here, and I hopefully it will be the last thing. So it was Kelvin Davis who lost to Albright, and it's the other brother, Ikea Davis, and Keyshawn, who ended up jumping, trying to accost Albright backstage. So, I was curious, what did Kelvin Davis say? Of all places, he chooses to place his statement, his apology, on Facebook. I'm not a big social media guy, but from what I understand, people don't use Facebook anymore, or not as many people as 15 years ago. So, curious platform to choose it. So he goes, on behalf of DB3, we apologize for conducting ourselves in that way. Tension was high and emotions got the best of us, blah, 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 blue. So some sort of like a half an apology there, a half-ass apology. But I'm interested in this. Check this out. Shakur Simpson, real solid champ. Real solid. So the family acts like jackasses, not only on one day, but throughout 2 days, really shitting the bed. But because they apologize, let's give him credit for apologizing. That's the bar. That's how low the bar is set over there, man. It's hey, man, you screw up royally multiple times. You shit the bed, but if you apologize, we're gonna give you credit for apologizing for something you should have done in the first place. I mean, come on, what is going on here?
And we've got a soft ass media bunch of people to thank for that. Oh, if you apologize, then all is forgiven. It's just ridiculous. Yeah, it's almost like the more you make yourself look like a jerk off, the more you disgrace yourself, the more you think, well, if I just say I'm sorry, then the world will forgive me.
Yeah, and I don't even know what DB3 stands for. DB3, I don't even know what that DB3 sounds like a special ed designation or something. It's like no, those guys are in the wrong class. They're DB3. I don't even know what that means. There's a Davis brothers right there. Kelvin is the guy on the right. He's the one that lost.
Oh my God, they look like carjackers.
And okay, FSD, please don't interrupt, man, when I'm because I'm losing my train of thought here. But yeah, that's Kelvin right there on the right. There was another Davis brother that ended up winning. I think it's the guy on the left, right? That's the guy that won via body shot. So he's the forgotten Davis, and he can thank his brothers for that. By the way. Hold on a second. Bray says the money look in their eyes. Well, actually, you know what? Yeah, Kelvin does have a weird look in his eyes. Look at that. That's Kelvin on the right again. He's got some intense eyes. Sobers, didn't you put something or somebody on your Discord posted it once? The whole eye thing. If you analyze people's eyes, if there's too much white on the lower portion.
Oh, there's the hunter eyes and the prey eyes.
Yeah, but something about if there's too much white underneath, that represents something. There's more white up in the upper part. It means something else.
Oh, that means like someone's like psychotic. We can see all the white around their eyes.
Okay, yeah. Well, you see a lot of white on Kelvin Davis's eyes. I don't know. Maybe he's just got wider eyes than most people, or eyelids or whatever. But
well, I mean, a white light against a black backdrop is going to stick out more. BDS.
Maybe. I don't know what that. Yeah, maybe. I don't know. Bryce says, yeah, he looks like he jumped someone that night. Ah, come on, what the fuck? I don't even know what he's talking about. But what was I gonna say? Okay, yeah, so enough of that. Listen, I wanted to get into this real quick. Fabio Wardley got into a fight, and he was in a fight against Justin Hooney. He was behind on the scorecards. And when I say behind, you already know where I'm going with this, unless you missed the fight. But Fabio Wardley ends up winning by 10th round KO. A very dramatic come from behind victory. It seemed like he was about to get stopped at some point. Surprised he went to the 10th round. And he ends up winning by, like I said, 10th round KO. Ends up saving himself. Hold on a second. I'm trying to show you guys the result here. What the fuck? My goodness gracious. Okay, here we go. Finally. Yeah, there you go. 10th round KO. Come from behind. Interesting honesty from Wardley, who said, listen, I'm going to read you the quote here. He says, I might not be a Usyk or a Hooney with a lot of boxing skills, he said, but I can dig deep, bite down, and find a way to win. And that's exactly what I did tonight. First of all, guys, what did you think of the win? And what did you think of the count? Was it a little bit too fast?
It was definitely a bit too fast, but we see so much. I mean, I'm just going to use a meme here, a meme that I saw after Joshua Klitschko, and that after a stoppage which was a bit too early. Another UK ref, and that's all I'll say. These things happen. Yeah, hats off to Wardley. I picked him to win, and he's an interesting addition to this next generation. There are so many good fights you could match him up with. I am thinking of some of them in my head, but you can't go wrong with it. So I just look forward to who he fights next.
Yeah, I'm surprised by his honesty, and I guess he was a moment of complete and utter clarity, because you can be humbled by getting outclassed like he was throughout 9.5 rounds. So I think that gave him a moment of clarity where he was very forthcoming about his abilities or lack thereof. He fights like he's James Stoney, and he's not. He's not James Stoney. He doesn't have proper fundamentals. And by the way, he's 30 years old. It's not like he's that young either. So he's got Ben Davidson in his corner, trainer extraordinaire, the best haircut in the business. But I don't know how far that's going to take him. I mean, Justin Hooney I wasn't sold on Justin Hooney, strong guy and all that. But see, that's the other thing, though. He struggled against Lorena. But then you think about it, you go, Lorena's a southpaw, different style. For this fight, it seemed like Hooney really did certainly improve his defense, and he was taking it to Wardley. But that's boxing. That's heavyweight boxing. It can all end with one punch. You can do everything right, and then one punch ends it for you. So it is interesting. Now, I was going to play a clip. Yes.
Eddie Hearn loses to another Frank Warren fighter. Justin Hooney was his guy, and Frank Warren promotes Wardley, so of course Wardley was going to win, and Eddie Hearn's reaction afterwards was priceless. I don't think. I'll just make one thing about Ben Davidson. I don't think he's going to improve Wardley's technique. He's going to get found out eventually if his power can't bail him out. But this is heavyweight boxing, so power can always bail you out.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's who knows? So somebody's able to stay away from him for 7 rounds, for more, for all the duration of the fight. What's he gonna do? What's Plan B? He's a hard hitter, that's for sure. Ask Frazier Clark and ask Justin Hooney, but he can also be outboxed. He can be hit. He's not a defensive marvel. He fights like he thinks he's James Toney with the left hand down, but he needs to learn proper fundamentals, keep those hands up. So we'll see what happens with him. But the count, I wanted to show a video of the count, but I can't find it here. But people need to remember, it's not a 10-second count. It's a 10 count. So some guys will go 1, 2, 3, and they'll overemphasize the ending of those numbers. Like one, when they say 2, they go, ooh. Other people go 1, 2, 3, 4. They'll do a little bit faster. There's a bit of a debate about whether he could have because Hooney was already on the way up by the time he reached 10. But if you look at the actual second count, he got up at 9. And I remember people said the same thing about Wilder Fury 3. The referee let Fury get up.
Yep.
He was still on the come up by the time it was about to be 10, and he didn't wave it off. And I think the ref should have done the same thing here. He should have let him get up and then walk to me, that whole shebang. And then if he determines that he can't go on, then you wave the fight off. But he didn't. He went by the count and waved it off after he reached 10. But it did seem quick. Even if Wardley tried to post something contrary to that on Twitter, he posted a video with a second counter at the bottom. But it's not the same thing, man. And by the way, when he got up, he was still at 9. So doesn't really help Wardley's cause to post that video with the second counter on the upper left, lower left-hand corner.
Yeah, it's like I said when you asked me, it's a UK call. Like we've seen this so many times. Like if they had the same, they had Mark Nelson who gave Tyson Fury that ridiculously long count in the first Usyk fight. Wardley could have got up, grabbed a drink, dusted himself off, and then got back in and still beat the count. I don't think it would have made a difference to the fight because Wardley looked like he was. Hooney looked like he had enough after that. But it is what it is. We'll never know. You shouldn't be fighting with your hands down like that. Again, I don't think it would have made a difference to the fight, so that's why I don't really care too much.
What do you mean he wouldn't? What wouldn't have made a difference?
I don't think it would have made a difference because I don't think Hooney was winning the fight. I think he would have, after getting smoked like that, I think he would have got finished anyway. I mean, yes, the referee should have given him.
Ready to connect.
You just laid it out
now.
Oh, you're talking about you're talking about if they would have let him continue, it would have ended badly for him.
Yeah, I don't. The count was early. There's no question about it, and you laid it out. But I don't think it would have affected the result of the fight. So that's why I don't care too much about it. But yeah, if you look at it technically, which you've laid out, the way you go 1, 2, 3, and as soon as somebody gets up, you can say, okay, walk to me, dust their gloves off, and then give them a chance to go back into it. It was early.
Yeah, it did seem like if I had to ponder and if I had to speculate and guess, he did seem like I'm talking about Hooney, like he would have probably gotten finished. But see, that's what I want to see, because the worst thing for boxing fans is to be left thinking, what if? Well, what if he wouldn't have waited? Take it to its logical conclusion. Listen, we've said it before here on this channel. These people say, oh, well, yeah, but he could have gotten seriously hurt. Well, that's the business they're in. It's professional boxing. And if you ask most fighters, they would rather have the fight stop too late than too early. That's how these maniacs think. Remember, these guys are maniacs for the most part. They're fighting for a living. So if you ask Hooney, hey, man, do you think the referee waved it a little bit too soon? He's probably like, yeah, he should have let me continue. They're willing to get their asses knocked out. So let them get their asses knocked out. That's what we pay for.
I mean, BDA, Dominic Brazil said that the referee counted too fast in the Wilder fight. And that's a fight where he actually could have lost his life if he had got caught again. So, which is what would have happened. So, yeah, these guys are something else. Yeah, if Hooney wants to complain about it, he can. But the thing is, well, I mean, we go over this pretty much every single event. On a technicality here, the referee messed up, but it's the officials keep saying the same thing. It's an in the moment call, much like do you call a foul if it's borderline. So yeah, the count was early, but we've seen far worse.
Well, I mean, hopefully there's a rematch, and you got to feel bad for Hooney, who did everything right and then has to suffer the indignity of getting knocked out. But like I said, that's the business right there. By the way, fellas, the phone lines are open. Make sure to call in. Phone numbers right there. 2 places, 2 different places on the screen. Upper part right there and the middle left-hand portion of your screen. I'm also going to be putting it up on the marquee. It's in the chat too, so make sure to call in, give us your thoughts on everything that transpired this past weekend. OG Blaze says he was out of it. Windy City says Worley didn't win a round. Inu versus Cardenas, even worse stoppage, says El Pinche, rather, excuse my language. OG Blaze says, fuck Hooney, he got caught, fuck him. There you go. Lalo Soto Gaming says, BDA likes to watch dude get finished. Come on, I don't... What? What's going on with these people? Besmirching my good name. I'm not going to have it. Outlaw Pugilist says, UK refs suck. Well, I mean, you just heard that term, UK stoppage, so it's there for a reason. Powerful Power King says, yeah, it was timed nicely. Hooney dropped his left hand and left his face totally open. Well, yeah, that's the thing. It was during an exchange. That's what happens when you exchange sometimes. Hold on a second. Yeah, go ahead.
Just if I may say something about Jai Opataya, because he fought in the weekend.
That's right. Jai Opataya fought in the weekend, and he fought via
Gold Coast Convention Centre.
He fought from the Gold Coast Convention Centre. They couldn't stop saying it enough during the telecast.
The Gold Coast Convention Centre.
And he ended up defeating, real quick, Claudio Squello, completely outmatched opponent in the 5th round, and caught him with a right hook. Go ahead, FSC. What were you going to say?
Well, yeah, it's nothing more than what we've seen from Opataya since he turned pro. I mean, aside from the 2 Breeders fights, which shows you how good Breeders is, this guy just walks through everyone. So yeah, it was a no-hoper. But the good thing, for those who don't know, those listening, this was a tune-up fight for the unification with Gilberto Ramirez, who's got his mandatory and daughter codes to deal with. So he takes care of business and they get it sorted. They get it going. Now, the one thing I wanted to say about Opataya is that he did actually look bored as hell in this fight. Like, the way he was just walking forward. I mean, Sueyo, excuse me, did land some punches which he shouldn't have been able to. But again, Opataya did look bored. So I just wanted to mention it because Opataya is one of my favorites. I don't think we learned anything new about him, but this, again, is leading to a bigger fight down the line in a unification. So I think we should just keep an eye on that.
Fellas, don't forget to hit the like. I got a couple of things to say about that, but first, let's go to the phone lines here. Let's go to 510. 510, you're on the air. 510, what's on your mind?
Hey, good morning, BDA. It's fucking 5:30 here in the West Coast. I just had to call in over fucking Saturday shit show. I don't know if you remember, I had a super chat right after the fucking press conference, and then with Keyshawn and De Los Santos, and I fucking called it. You know, these guys, these Davis brothers, they're fucking hood boogers, dude. They don't know how to act in public. They don't know how to conduct themselves like professionals, you know, and they don't know how to fucking take a L. I see a lot of people complaining, talking about, oh, why does it always have to be about them being ghetto? Because it's the fucking truth, dude. It's like you give these guys the whole fucking promotion, right after Shakur leaves, you guys give Keyshawn pretty much the keys, which is all right. They have to give it to somebody, but it's like to a certain extent, this guy already fucked up once with which that wasn't too big of a deal, but he did fuck up once already having the no contest, and and then here we go again. This guy couldn't make weight. He's over here. He's over here talking down about another top ranked prospect who's on the up and coming. He's number 2 in the belt sanctioning body, and now he's gonna take your belt, the belt that you couldn't defend.
That's a great point. That's a great point. I mean, that's the worst thing about it, Caller, is that he was doing a lot of jawing. See, that's the problem with being a talker in the sport of boxing, which is that, yeah, it's all nice and good if you keep winning, but then if things start going wrong, it blows up all over your face, your back, your stomach, everywhere. And that's what happened with Keyshawn Davis. All that jawing about how Frank Martin was soft. And people, he said that. Keyshawn Davis said Frank Martin embarrassed the culture. I mean, no, excuse me. He said the whole culture saw Frank Martin get punked by Tank Davis. So evidently, this is in the back of Keyshawn Davis's mind. He has to try to live up to some sort of weird standard of toughness and acting the way he acts. It's ridiculous, Caller. But you hit the nail on the head right there, man. Hey, by the way, who is this?
Yeah, and this is Jonathan. Jonathan, I'm from Oakland, California, here on the West Coast.
Shout out to you, Jonathan. What else do you want to say? Sorry.
Yeah. Oh, I just want to say, it's kind of divided what happened on Saturday amongst the viewers. Always, I just have to say, sometimes we just have to tend to fucking rule out any of these guys' opinions that are talking about like, oh I'm gonna take the street take. I'm gonna show you what it is, like what happens on the street. Like, these guys get fucking paid, for entertainment. You have to be a professional, and you have to keep the same energy, but also know that like, kids are watching. Actual people who paid the sport are watching. I remember a fucking video on his last fight. They showed him going back to like some schools in Norfolk. And he's fucking teaching the little kids how to throw up the sign of the DB3 brothers. It's like you're fucking teaching kids to throw up a gang sign. To me, it's a gang sign. Anywhere you go, if you're trying to portray yourself as a gang, it's a fucking gang sign. And you're teaching these kids how to throw it up. It's like, I don't know what Top Rank was thinking. Honestly, there should have been some kind of fucking quality control for media about shit like this, because I don't know, I caught onto it like 2 fucking fights ago, where this guy is just like, he's trying to be a little, I don't know what it is, but it seems to me like he was trying to be ghetto on camera.
I think you're onto something there, Caller. It's not,
thanks.
Well, thank you, Jonathan. Thank you for calling in, man. Take it easy out there.
Thanks, media. Have a great day.
You too, man. Yeah, listen, I think it's politically incorrect to say it, but fuck, man. I mean, if a guy's like, if you ever see Navarrete walking in with machetes into pressing room conferences and starting to, and you say, well, he's acting like a cartel member. Hey, if the shoe fits. So I don't understand why people are too sensitive to criticize, but it's true. Shout out to Jonathan for calling in. Don't forget to hit the like. Don't forget to call in. This is a BDA Morning Show. The phone numbers are right there, left-hand portion of your screen, left middle portion, that is. And it's in the upper part too, there on the scroll. So make sure to call in. In regards to Jaya Pitaya, yeah, I'm not all that excited about seeing him and Zurdo Ramirez fighting, but if that's all there is, then I guess I'll take it. But I'm wondering about Jay Opetaya's move up to heavyweight, because the guy he fought too on Saturday, and he fought him from
ringside, Gold Coast Convention Centre.
He fought him from the convention center, looking very good. He's made it his home. It's kind of a great atmosphere. But I think it's time for him to fight somebody with a pulse. I know he didn't want to fight this guy. He actually complained about it in the build up to the fight. But he's a professional. He made weight. He did what he had to. By the way, I think it was a catch weight of some sort. Yeah, man, I mean, he did what he had to do, and I want to see him in there against someone who's got a pulse. FST, somebody in the chat says, Al Cuerpo Boxing says, FST, I told you cruiserweight is heating up. Fans are accepting David at cruiserweight. I told you. What's he talking about?
Oh boy. Okay. Quippo and I have gone back and forth for a while. He likes to test my patience a lot on other streams. I'm not even going to go into it because it's getting real early here. It's like 12:30 in the morning. So I was actually just waiting for you to finish BDA so I could say thanks for having me on. I know I often complain. I seem to be getting a reputation as someone who complains a lot on your show, but I appreciate the conversations nonetheless. And I really appreciate you having me on. I'll plug my channel if I may, just for anybody who wants to come and hate live. But yeah, I'll try and call in on Friday. And yeah, all the best as always.
Well, all the best to you over there. Fight Sports Talk, thank you for coming in. And what time is it over there now?
Thank you, brother.
Where are you at?
It's 12:30 in the morning.
Jeez Louise. All right,
that's
yeah,
okay.
Go get some.
Yeah, well, tomorrow's a non-work day for me. But anyway, appreciate it, brother.
All right, take it easy,
peace out
man.
to everyone.
Go get some shut-eye. Yeah, that's FST right there. So El Cuerpo was saying that it's heating up the cruiserweight division. I mean, I don't know. Listen, Benavidez, is he really that great an addition at cruiserweight? You got Badu Jack, who's probably going to be rematching Gormorian or whatever his name is. And you've got Zurdo, who's a bit of a big name, I suppose, and that's the one that Optai has been calling out, but I'm not terribly excited by that fight. I'm not one of those dudes that's like, hey, move to heavyweight, move to heavyweight, move to heavyweight. But in this scenario, what else does he have to do, Optai, at heavyweight? What else is there for him? If he wants to move above and beyond...
The Gold Coast Convention Centre.
And really make it to other venues, he has to step up the competition.
The Gold Coast Convention Centre.
Hold on a second, what is this? Yeah, what is that? Center. He's not even saying center. And listen, I got a fucked up accent, I know. But this, center.
Center.
Sounds like he's speaking Spanish, by the way. But yeah, so that's what we've got there. Jai Opitaya kind of looked bored, but I mean, he took care of business, did what he had to. The other fight that we had, that was on Sunday. So that was after the whole debacle there between on Top Rank. By the way, shout out to Isaac Bermudez, who says, hold on a second, where is it? Was it Isaac Bermudez? No, it was somebody else. No, yes, Isaac Bermudez makes a good point here. He goes, Keyshawn says, F his community and decided not to show up as a main event for his people. But he did eat popcorn and ganged on a tired opponent who just kicked his brother's ass pillar to post. That's a great way of putting it there, Isaac. It's an excellent way of putting it, if I may say so myself. It's true. He said, screw the fans. Then he has the goal and temerity to say, oh yeah, De Los Santos was scared of me. Jesus, you're coming in 4.3 pounds overweight, not even trying to make the weight. You're already big as fuck. And you have the temerity to say that that guy's scared of you and that you would have kicked his ass. I mean, and then getting into it with a bunch of Dominicans in the crowd, stuffing his face with popcorn, and of course, obviously, at the end, attacking a guy or trying to attack a guy while Keyshawn Davis's son is right next to him, by the way. Almost double the little cart over with the kid in there. Bad look all around for Keyshawn Davis. And you have to wonder if maybe this makes him more popular with certain people, or maybe it just destroys his credibility the way I've seen a lot of people saying on social media. The other fight, and listen, thank goodness for Nakatani in Japan, because he really did save the weekend. Well, I mean, him and Huni and Worley. And Abdullah Mason, of course, yeah, those guys, you know, it was mostly the Davises who had a bad weekend. They're the real losers of the weekend. But on Sunday, we also had Junto Nakatani in a slugfest against Ryusuke Nishida. It was a unification if you care about such things, if you care about the belts. And a lot of people were focusing on Nishida's low KO rate. Oh, he only has 2 knockouts in his career. This guy beat Emmanuel Rodriguez. So evidently he has some ability. He's a southpaw, almost as big as Nakatani, who's pretty tall for the 118-pound division. And he took it to Nakatani. There was a little bit of deception in his game because apparently he'd said in the build-up to the fight that he was going to box Nakatani. And instead it turned into a slugfest. 2 southpaws, 2 relatively tall southpaws going at it, 118 pounds. But it just, Nakatani's firepower took over this fight. This dude has some of the most wicked, his uppercuts are insane. He's got some wicked uppercuts, whether with the left, which we knew is his power punch, but also with the right uppercut. And it's interesting because Nishida came in with a tight guard, trying to walk Nakatani down. And Nakatani, like every true puncher should, said, okay, I'm just going to punch through the guard. I'm just going to bust you up. And bust you up he did. Ended up swelling Nishida's, what was it, right eye, I believe? And just kept plugging. That's the other thing. That was a smart thing. He saw the swelling, Nakatani did, and said, okay, let me just keep punching it. Or punching at it. Let me just keep punching at it. And the swelling got worse, and Nishida had to be stopped on doctor's orders. What a performance by Nakatani. This figured to be one of his most complicated fights, and it did look like it was going to be complicated early on, but he just kept surging ahead. Let me tell you, Nakatani, at this point, he's looking like a monster. And though the opposition might be limited, I think he's proven now that guys like Nishida, they just can't challenge him. You know, even Chivas Rodriguez and RG Cortez, two guys that went the distance with him, they ended up having to walk through some bombs. Not everyone's going to be able to do so. But then now the question is, well, what happens with Nakatani? Does he take on Bam Rodriguez at, wait for that dude to come up from 115 pounds? Or does he go up to fight another pound for pounder in Naoya Inoue? Because again, remember, Bam Rodriguez is in the top 10 pound for pound. So is Inoue. So is Nakatani. So what happens? I think the smart money would be on the money fight, which would be Nakatani Inoue. Because that could probably be, people are saying it's going to be the biggest Japanese fight ever. And those dudes over there in Japan, they like their boxing. Millions of people watch these fights over there. Whereas here on this side of the pond, promoters are corking open the champagne bottles when they hit 200,000 pay-per-view buys. Over there, a couple of million people watch Inoue fights. So Inoue and Nakatani would do wonderful business over there. Just gigantic astronomical numbers. So maybe that's the fight that Nakatani and his handlers are going to be looking forward to making. And I think I don't know what about you guys. I'm curious to hear what you guys have to think. Don't forget to call in. The numbers are right there, plastered top and the middle left-hand portion of your screen. So make sure to call in, give us your thoughts on anything and everything boxing. But I tell you what, I'd rather see Nakatani versus Inoue. But it's interesting, man. Bam Rodriguez, he's looking unstoppable. Nakatani is looking unstoppable. Inoue, now that he's at 122, he's looking a little bit more shakier, but he's still stopping everybody he fights. So these guys are monsters in their respective rights. And they're highly appetizing fights to wonder, who wins between each other? Who wins between Bam and Nakatani? I tell you what, I've said it before. Bam, Mr. Pelavaca saying Bam overrated. I think so. I think he's slightly overrated, and I've said it before. I think it's because when people bring up Inoue, that's overrating Bam, because you're saying, oh, he has to move up, skip 118 and go to 122, I guess a legitimate monster, to have a competitive fight. By saying that, you are overrating Bam Rodriguez. But he's very, very good. Don't get me wrong. He's one of the best. One of the best. Let's go to a phone. Don't forget to hit the like, fellas. Hit the like. Really helps us out. Let's go to a phone call here. Let's go to 210. 210. You're on the air. 210. What's on your mind?
Hey, what's up? Southpaw.
Oh, Southpaw. What time is it over there in the West Coast?
I'm in Texas, bro. It's like 7:43. I'm here at work. Why y'all on so early? You're trying to duck me or what?
Oh, yeah, absolutely, man. That's why when I woke up in the morning, I said, I hope Southpaw Lefty doesn't call in. No, but we're doing the morning shows now. We're doing, I'm
Better
doing
not
them.
duck me, son.
There you go.
Better not duck me, son.
Oh, boy. You can tell Southpaw's
Yeah, I agree with y'all, man. They've been giving it to Davis all weekend. And it all comes down to maturity, man. And I called it, I don't think I said it on this show, but I've seen a lot of immature behavior, and the whole DB3 thing, that's a gang thing.
Oh.
You know, I don't know if y'all you're not from the city, so that with the hand symbols, they have the little gang signs, the DB3 gang sign. It's just the abbreviation. It just sounds like an immature group of kids that, you know, they still think they're in a gang. And this kid was in a psych ward. You know, you gotta put that in the account. And it's disheartening because the kid has a lot of skills. And what makes it disheartening is like, okay, we thought we were done with the class of fighters that were going to be a bunch of brats and divas, and he's cut from that cloth, you know. And with that camp, you know, Bud is mature, but he wasn't always that way. Bud was kind of like that too when he was younger. I went to when Bud fought here in Texas, and that's when I got to interview the guy. He did a real shitty interview. I couldn't even post it because the guy wouldn't talk. But his sisters and his little entourage, they were berating the fighter he knocked out after the fight, following him down to the tunnel, saying, "Yeah, we fucked you up. Yeah, motherfucker, that's what you get." Blah blah blah. And it was like real ghetto, bro. And it's just like it was crazy. But yeah, you see that with Shakur. You see that with with a lot of those guys, man. And unfortunately, that's what moves the needle with those fighters. Because if you think about it, the squeaky clean guys don't get no clout. You know, if you think about it, Andre Ward should have been a star, but he wasn't. He was squeaky clean. Tim Bradley should have been a star. He wasn't because he was squeaky clean. Tank Davis, he's a thug. So guess what? He's popular. So that's it's part of the inner city culture thing, and it's sad, it's pathetic. But this kid's gonna bounce back, dude. This is boxing, man. People get busted for stupid shit all the time, and it doesn't matter. They're gonna come back. The kid can fight.
Yeah, but it is interesting though that we were a lot of us were saying that about Keyshawn Davis. Like I was giving him credit for stopping people because that's how low the bar's been set by some of these American stars. That hey, he's finally he's not back foot bitching it. He's not fighting in the ass style now. He's finally knocking out. But then I would also say, well, he's supposed to knock people out. He's much bigger than his opponents, and look at what happened. The guy didn't even try to make weight because he's been seeing that whole Bomac camp southpaw. There, you got Crawford walking around 177 pounds when he was a welterweight. You got Shakur Stevenson, who's connected to the Bomac camp, missing weight against Conceição too, also getting into street fights. Nicholson, whatever his name is, the guy who fought Pacheco, a lot of jawing too. It seems like they have a hard time with the weight thing over there on Bomac's camp. I think not enough people are addressing that.
Yeah, and the thing is, he didn't even try to make the weight because I'm glad his De Los Santos pulled out because De Los Santos looked drained. I remember seeing pictures and people posting about how drained he looked like the day before the weigh-in, cheekbones popping out and everything. And then you had, you had his opponent who was supposed to headline in his hometown, and he didn't even try. He looked fresh, and he pretty much just blew it off, thinking, okay, well, he's so arrogant, like. What else does this guy have? He hasn't fought like in 2 years, so he has to take this. So I'm just going to come in as heavy as I want and blow it. And I notice a lot of these immature things, like I said, with the whole gang signs and the DB3. It sounds super immature, man. And also when you see a guy when he started hanging out with Floyd, and he's like, "Oh, I want Floyd around, but I'll call up Floyd." And I'm like, "Oh God, this guy's another brat." So yeah, and he's already talking about how he doesn't love boxing, and it's just when you hear fighters talk like that, it's red flags, man. Like I remember seeing Tito Trinidad. Tito Trinidad was in tears saying how much he loved boxing. As much as I don't like Canelo's like no boxing, no life, right? So when you have these guys, these American brats, you know what they're in. I almost don't want him to I almost don't want him to rebound because he's gonna be one of those fighters that if he makes it to the mountaintop of whatever division he's at, he's gonna play the diva, and it's clear as day, man. Like I called it before. I was hoping I was wrong, but this kid is not good for boxing, man. And he's gonna get a second shot because he has talent. But yeah, it is what it is, man. That's why I can't stand.
I'll tell you, man.
American fighters, but
I'll tell you another red flag. We pointed it out on the Friday's morning show. He was on the Errol Hawani program, and he said they asked him about a Tank Davis Jake Paul fight. He goes, "Well, I think Tank Davis deserves it because we've been in this sport a long time." Thinking we've been on this sport a long time. Like, okay, yeah, I get it that when you start out young as an amateur, technically, yeah, you've been boxing for a while, but as a professional, Tank Davis hasn't done anything to warrant him getting a big money exhibition fight. And Keyshawn Davis just started as a professional. So what's he talking about? Like, oh yeah, we've been at this a long time. So it just goes to show you that these guys already think they're at a place where they haven't really reached. That they're overrating themselves, and it's like you said.
And that I agree. I agree. Sorry, I always got a delay, but yeah, I agree, man. And this is what's wrong. And I just want to close with saying, like, this is why. And think about all the money and the work that Top Rank has been pouring into this kid lately, and just to get just to get slapped in the face and lose money. They lost money, and so I'm tired of hearing the whole Bob Arum thing. Bob was never the problem. That was propaganda propped up by Floyd because Floyd's a diva. Floyd a narcissist, and he blaming the promoters who put up their own money. These guys are the ones that put in the work, the matchmakers, having to deal with the fighters' camps, the fighters' managers, the fighters' families, having to put up with the demands. I've seen fighters demand from Top Rank, I want my cousins and my aunts and uncles to have the suites in the fight hotel, and asking for a whole bunch of shit, man, that they shouldn't really be asking for. So it just shows that the fighters in America are the problem, and we got to start seeing that. I think the fans are seeing that, you know what I mean? So that's just, we'll see what happens. But like I said, it's going to be under the rug, on to the next, man. But like, that's what I'm looking forward to, Bam and all them other guys coming up. We got some mature guys like Abdullah Mason. So I'm just worried about Abdullah Mason's chin, but we'll see, man. I'm hoping that kid can like kind of take over, where it's kind of like Mikey Garcia. When Mikey Garcia blew it, that's when Terrence Crawford kind of got the next man up moniker. You know what I mean? That's right. Yeah. He got his little boost where like Top Rank's all right, next guy up. So hopefully this is the case for Abdullah Mason. That's all I got, man.
All right, Southpaw. Thank you for calling in, man. Catch you in the next one. Take it easy out there. Hey, let's not forget too. Everyone's talking about Abdullah Mason. What about what's his name? Vargas. Emiliano Vargas. That's the guy that's, if you want to compare him, that Ryan Garcia, I know he wasn't with Top Rank, but that's the guy that everybody expected to be the star, the Latino star, could be Vargas. He's got the looks, he's got the fighting ability, it seems like. So, forget about Ryan Garcia. Maybe this the guy is the next hope for that stardom. Because a lot of Mexican women, they like that baby-faced type of boxer for some reason. I don't know why. Maybe it's got something to do with the telenovelas. They also like that type of guy. It's interesting that telenovelas, the women are attracted to either the baby-faced guy or the old-looking dude. Like a guy who's in his 60s with the gray hair and all that. They're attracted to that. There's no in between. Fellas, don't forget to hit the like, call in. Phone numbers right there in the left and middle portion of the screen and the upper portion as well. I'm going to be staying here for a little bit more because I got more things to say about that. But let me read a couple of comments before I move on to the next subject. Mr. Pelavaca says, in regards to Bam Rodriguez, you can't look like a lesbian and unstoppable at the same time. Well, guess what? Bam Rodriguez is sort of doing it. He's accomplishing that. He's looking like a lesbo and dominating his opposition at the same time. So he's the exception that proves the rule, I suppose. And let me tell you, Bam Rodriguez at 115 has looked very, very good. But against Nakatani, though, I think it's a 50-50 fight because Nakatani, as we saw against Nishida, if you can get close to him, and you get him into some exchanges, you can crack him. And Bam Rodriguez hits harder than Nishida, even though Nishida's at 118. I do think Bam Rodriguez can probably pack a little bit more of a wallop on his shots, and I think he's got better defense than Nishida. But then again, that high guard, you never know. We'd have to see how it stands, how it stands up to Nakatani's punches, because it's one thing to do it against an old Estrada and an old Wikaxel Wangek, a.k.a. Rongvisai. But it's another when you're fighting a guy who's bigger and who can throw a lot of shots like Nakatani. Once you put that guard up, what if he pierces it? What if he can get around it? Is your face going to hold up or is it going to swell up like Nishida? So that's a good question right there. And let's not forget that Bam, and this is why I say he's a little bit overrated, because he's been looking spectacular in the last couple of fights, but people forget he went the distance against Israel Gonzalez. He had to hit low to get a bit of an advantage there against Gonzalez, who kept him at the end of the shots. Gonzalez is a relatively tall guy for the division. Then Bam Rodriguez went down to 112, and fought Christian El Chicharito Gonzalez. That guy went the distance with him and ended up fracturing Bam Rodriguez's jaw. What do all these guys have in common with Nakatani? Tall guys. They're tall guys, so I don't know if he's going to if Bam would struggle with Nakatani's length and punching power and the skills. So I don't know, but it would be a highly intriguing fight. I think it's 50-50. Now, Nakatani versus Inoue, I'd give Inoue the edge. I would give Inoue the edge based on the fact that if he can catch Nakatani and gets there first, and I'm pretty sure he can because he's slightly faster, even though he's bigger than Nakatani. I think he looks faster than Nakatani, and he certainly hits harder. Maybe not by that much in either category, but just enough. And he's the more experienced guy. Then again, like other people have pointed out, he's been dropped by left hands. Inoue has in the last couple of fights. Luis Neri dropped him, and Cardenas dropped him with a left hook. But then again, every time Inoue gets dropped, like Calzaghe in Trinidad, he gets back up, makes adjustments, barely loses any rounds thereafter, and ends up stopping his opposition. So there's flip sides to these coins all over the place, and that's what makes these fights exciting and highly, highly intriguing. I'm telling you, Inoue versus Nakatani, top 5 fights that I want to see. Bam versus Nakatani, another top 5 fight I want to see. So right there, it occupies 2 spots on my top 5 most anticipated fights. And like I said, shout out to Nakatani and Nishida for really adding a good fight this weekend. Al Cuerpo Boxing says, I'm disappointed in Team Bam. He could beat 118 champs for the road to Junto while he's still there. Bray says Bam moved down to 112 when Nakatani was at 115. Then he moved back up to 115 once Nakatani went to 118. Expect Bam to move to 118 once Nakatani goes to 122. You know what, man? That's the way it looks like. Perception is everything in this business. And the fact that Bam Rodriguez doesn't seem to be all that eager to fight Nakatani, at least from what I've heard. I don't know. I haven't heard what he has to say too much. So I don't know if he's been calling Nakatani out. He has business to get in with Pumita Martinez at 115, though. That's a good fight. Even though Martinez's stock went down a little bit after the Yoka rematch, which was tougher than the first fight. The guy that I'm looking forward to, though, is Yafai or Gafai or whatever his name is. I always forget if it's Yafai or Gafai. He's taking on El Chihuas Rodriguez later on this month, I believe. If not this month, then the next. But I know in the summer that fight is taking place. That's one of my anticipated fights for this summer. Hold on, where is it? Hitchens, Cambosos, Turichi. When is that fight taking place? Brian Norman fighting in Japan. June the 21st. There you go. June the 21st. That's the fight I'm looking forward to from Birmingham, England via the Zone. Or broadcast by the Zone, rather. Galalia 5 versus Francisco El Chihuas Rodriguez. Guys, Chihuas went the distance with Nakatani, and I don't think he touched the canvas, by the way. One of the few guys who went in there against Nakatani and walked out without touching the canvas. He's very tough. He's fought the best. He fought Donny Nietes. He fought Chocolatito. Prime Chocolatito, by the way. He fought Yoka. Some people felt he got robbed against Yoka. So now he's taking on Yafai, who just recently stopped Sonny Edwards. 2 come-forward fighters, 2 body punchers. Guys, this is a fight to watch. I don't want to hear people talking about other fights in the build-up to this one, let me tell you. And if you don't watch this fight on the Discord, I'm going to be keeping tally. I'm going to be keeping my eye on a lot of these people on the Discord. If you don't watch this fight and you don't talk about it in the build-up to it, oh boy, some people are getting banned, let me tell you. Actually, forget getting banned. I'm actually gonna do something physically. And people are gonna say, oh, BDA, is that a threat? You're goddamn right. No, I'm kidding. What are the people saying in the chat here? Hold on. Jin Ryu says, Mr. BDA's got a new shift at the Fabrica, 3 to 11 p.m. shift. No, that's not what it is. It's just I'm deciding to do some morning shows now because that way I got more energy and we can address some of the things quicker, get to them faster. And on top of that, I'm pretty sure people enjoy some of these morning shows. You know, as they're getting ready for work, getting ready to send the kids to school, they get their coffee and everything. I don't know. A good way to start the day. Then again, beauty's in the eye of the beholder. So maybe some people like these shows. Maybe some people hate the fact that they have to hear my voice this early in the morning. What else we got here? OG Blaze says at the same time, Junto has been fighting no-hopers. I mean, yeah, it's not bad opposition, but at this point, I don't want to see him against no-name. Even if it's some of the top guys at 118, I don't want to see Junto fight them because chances are he's just going to blow them out. He's just going to overwhelm them. So, yeah, man, I mean, either fight Bam or fight Inoue. Anything else, not terribly interested in any of that. Al Cuerpo says Bam went down for Sonny Edwards, not for Israel. Yeah, I remember he fought Israel Gonzalez at 115, and then he went down to fight Chicharito at 112, and then Sonny Edwards at 112, and now he's back at 115. Yeah, I don't know if I misspoke and I said that the Israel Gonzalez fight was at 112. Nakatani is blazing up. He says, Ring Magazine just said Nakatani wants Divino Espinosa at 126. Jeez, Luis, get the fuck out of here. Why? I mean, come on. He's got Inoue to contend with at 122. Why skip that to get all the way to Divino at 126? Jin Ryu says, I got Francisco Rodriguez for the upset, maybe a draw. It's a very dangerous fight for Gafai, let me tell you, or Yafai. Warp Speed says, are you and Bucho gonna jump us if we don't watch the fight? Yeah, we're gonna jump you. DB3, baby, all day, every day. Shit. That's what's going to happen right there. Fellas, don't forget to call in. I'm going to stay here for a little bit more because I got one last thing to talk about. Is it the last thing to talk about? Yeah, I think so. Yeah. Okay, hold on. While I'm looking for it, let's listen to the stylish pipes of our own Telkain Pancration singing the Mexican national anthem.
Mexicanos grito la guerra, al ser a prestar el perdón. Y retemble centro la tierra, al Señor rugir del cañón. Y retemble centro la tierra, al Señor rugir del cañón. Retemble centro la tierra, al Señor.
I'm telling you, Telkains is fucking talented, man. He can fight, he can call fights, he can predict them, he can dance, he can sing. Pretty sure he can paint too as well. There's got to be some sort of painting ability there as well. I'm calling it right now. Fellas, don't forget to hit like. Really helps us out. Mr. Pelavacas asks, when's the next second renaissance? Oh boy. You're asking a lot out of us. Morning shows, second renaissances, special consultations, private consultations. I mean, come on, guys. Help me out here. Maybe if I lived in Australia and I was broadcasting live from
Ringside, Gold Coast Convention Centre.
Maybe, the time difference and all that would be a little bit more generous. But come on, guys. I'm trying my best here.
The Gold Coast Convention Centre.
Hold on a second. Okay, so this is what I wanted to talk about. Last thing that I got on the docket here. Bill Haney is, again, one of the more thin-skinned individuals in the sport. This dude just can't... He's really imploding since his son got shellacked by Ryan Garcia. I think it really broke them mentally and physically that an Instagram model that they really thought they were going to beat managed to beat his son, managed to beat them. And, they can talk all they want about the Austrian and the weight and all that. One of the reasons why I don't criticize Ryan Garcia so much for the weight as much as for the drug use against Haney is because Haney's a weight bully too. He just does it the legal way. But he's a bully too. So Garcia missing weight for that fight, it's not as egregious as Keyshawn Davis missing weight or other guys missing weight. So that's why. So I don't think Bill Haney really believes the whole Austrian thing. He doesn't. He deep down, it seems he knows his son is not as good as he told everybody. And he already had to know it in some sense because he was using smokes and mirrors, a lot of subterfuge to try to prop up his son prior to the Ryan Garcia fight. I mean, really, think about it. His best win, which is against Prograis, Devin Haney's that is, was really a calculated move. They only fought Prograis once they realized that he wasn't as good as people made him out to be. Once they saw Prograis look bad against Zorrilla, and Bill Haney was ringside for that fight, that's when he said, okay, yeah, well, now we'll fight him. Now we'll fight him. Shit. That's what he said. That's what they did. So now he's imploding, knowing that his son is not as good as he made him out to be, and that the boxing world realized what we already knew, that he's not that good. He's not the next Floyd Mayweather. And now he can't get a fight for the money that they want. They're asking for astronomical sums of money for fights that nobody really wants to see or nobody's that excited to see. That's why some people are even signing with Teofimo Lopez for backing out of the Haney fight, saying, fuck him, give him a taste of his own medicine. All that to say that Bill Haney's getting into it with people. He got into it with Antonio Tarver, and he tried to claim that Devin Haney is a superior fighter to Tarver, even though Tarver's got wins over... he's got wins over legitimately one of the greatest fighters of all time in Roy Jones. What does Devin Haney have? A win over Prograis, okay, Linares, Jojo Diaz. Wow, I'm impressed. So he had the temerity to go against Antonio Tarver. Now he's going against Timothy Bradley. Check this out. He says Timmy, trying to act condescending by calling him Timmy. Timmy retired with 13 knockouts, but swears he was stepping on shit. I don't know what that means, stepping on shit. Why does Timothy Bradley act like he was that guy? And then he puts his record. 33 wins, 2 losses, 1 draw. I don't know, that seems like a pretty good record to me, especially when you consider the opposition that Bradley was facing. Then he posts only 13 knockouts in his entire career. So he's admitting everything, he's admitting that a low knockout percentage and no knockouts is boring. But before that, he was saying, hey, it's a sweet science. When defending his son, when people were criticizing Devin for being boring and light punching, hey, man, this is a sweet science. It ain't about the knockouts. Now he's criticizing Tim Bradley for the knockout thing, or the lack of knockouts. So again, that's Bill Haney, convicted drug peddler, being hypocritical as always. Who would have thought that the convicted drug dealer would be hypocritical. I never saw it coming. Then he goes, never undisputed. Again, that whole undisputed thing is worthless in today's 4-belt era. Because not only do we have 4 belts, the WBO, by the way, which 15 years ago was a joke, and all of a sudden people prop it up. And the only reason people prop it up is because everyone else does. The machine does. The establishment does. And a lot of people are sheep. They just go with what the establishment tells them. So, oh yeah, you're undisputed in the 4-belt era. Teofimo Lopez wasn't undisputed because he liked 1 belt. Okay, so what? He beat the best. He doesn't need a bunch of paper straps to prop up his record. Bill Haney and his son, they need that type of stuff because their career is it mostly smokes and mirrors. So they need to rely on that type of stuff. So Timothy Bradley never unified. Who gives a shit? Then he goes, no career-defining win without controversy. Again, that's funny coming from Bill Haney because his son's biggest win wasn't actually a win against Lomachenko. But he's not going to touch that one, is it? Then he goes, most known for getting booed after a rivalry over Pacquiao. Well, most people know his son, Devin Haney, for getting dropped 3 times, getting hurt multiple times, and shitting his pants against an Instagram model in Ryan Garcia, who then goes on to get, who loses then to a borderline retard in Rolly Romero. Think about that. Wrap your head around that. Rolly Romero managed to beat Ryan Garcia. Devin Haney couldn't. That's what people know him for. And by the way, in the response to this tweet, I went to the responses. Obviously, evidently, people just posting picture after picture of Devin Haney on his knees, shit on his trunks, getting dropped by Ryan Garcia. It's never going to end. So then he goes, meanwhile, Devin Haney at 26, 32-0. Yeah, well, he should be 32-2. 15 knockouts, already more than Bradley had in his entire career. 15 knockouts, so 2 knockouts more, which all came, by the way, early in his career when he was fighting a bunch of people that looked like the Mexican version of Beetlejuice over in Tijuana bars. That's the knockout percentage that he's propping up. 2 more knockouts on Timothy Bradley. Wow, we're impressed. Youngest undisputed champion in the 4-belt era. Again, nobody gives a shit about undisputed in the 4-belt era. Built his legacy without a major promoter. First of all, he is using major promoters. Top Rank was in Devin Haney's corner at some point. So was Matchroom. So it's, this whole thing about, oh, we don't have a major promoter. Yeah, you do, because if it wasn't for a major promoter, you wouldn't be holding events. Is Bill Haney going to put up his own money to hold these events? No. He has to rely on Top Rank and Matchroom and others to prop those events up, to actually promote them, to set them up. Then he goes, Tim was good. Devin's historic. Again, based on what? Based on undisputed in the 4-belt era? He didn't even defend the belt. I mean, he defended it once, excuse me. Like, it's the same guy that he won it. The same guy that ended up getting stopped by Vasil Lomachenko, something Devin Haney couldn't come close to doing in 24 rounds against him because he's a pillow-fisted back-foot bitch. Timothy Bradley, one thing that convicted drug dealer Bill Haney is going to omit is that Tim Bradley's got a whole bunch of wins. First of all, he's got a win over a Hall of Famer in Pacquiao. Now, hey, listen, let's say you want to discount that win. Fine, let's discount the win over Pacquiao because it was controversial. Timothy Bradley has a win over Juan Manuel Marquez, another legitimate Hall of Famer. He's got wins over Kendall Holt, Lamont Peterson, who was undefeated. Junior Witter went to England to beat Junior Witter, a legitimate, hard-hitting guy, unorthodox. You beat him by decision in his hometown. Meanwhile, Devin Haney gets a bunch of props. He wants us to give him the world because he fought Cambosos in his hometown. So Timothy Bradley fought Junior Witter. This is the run that Timothy Bradley went on across several years. He fights Junior Witter, who a lot of people were saying, some people were even mentioning him and Mayweather fighting. That's how good Junior Witter was at that point. He'd beaten not Vince Phillips. What was the guy's name? Vivian Harris. He'd fought Vivian Harris, knocked him out. He'd beaten Chop Corley. He was looking good. He was looking like Prince Nassim Hamed out there at some point, knocking people out left and right. Timothy Bradley goes to his hometown, drops him, and ends up winning a decision. And the biggest win of Timothy Bradley's career at that point was El Tite Vasquez. And nobody knew who Tite was at that point, by the way. That fight's it wasn't televised. So he goes without any real world-class experience, goes over to England and beats Junior Witter. That right there gives him more respect than anything Devin's done in his career. Then he beats the tough Edner Cherry. That was a good, solid guy. Beats him comprehensively. Then he beats Kendall Holt in a unification fight. I think it was unification, but even if it wasn't, Kendall Holt was one of the top junior welterweights. He had speed, he had power. He dropped Timothy Bradley twice. What does Timothy Bradley do after getting dropped? Does he hold and clinch the way Devin Haney did after Linares clocked him in the 10th round? No, he actually takes it to Kendall Holt. He says, okay, you dropped me. I'm going to get mine back. And goes to Kendall Holt, outworks him, hurts him to the body. And then he gets dropped in the 12th round. But that's the thing. He kept walking into the puncher because he had balls. You can say undisputed in the four-belt era, he's still undefeated. You can say that all you want. You can't buy the balls that Timothy Bradley had. And I know Bill Haney can see that because he's got his son's balls obscuring his vision. But it's the reality. Real hardcore boxing fans know that Tim Bradley was a real one. And then Timothy Bradley goes from that to fighting the undefeated Lamont Peterson. So in 2008, he takes on, 2009, he takes on Kendall Holt and Lamont Peterson back to back. He fought Nate Campbell too in between, if I remember correctly. That was a no contest, but Nate Campbell quit in that fight. So he fought those 3 solid guys back to back. No special concessions required, no the size of the ring, where's the fight taking place, blah, 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 blah. He fought Devin Alexander, who was undefeated too. Those were the 2 best guys at that point at 140. Amir Khan, that's the fight that never happened. But Devin Alexander was the next great guy that they had over at HBO. And Timothy Bradley beats him. So he's got those guys on top of the Marquez win, on top of the Jesse Vargas win. I mean, what else do you want from Timothy Bradley? That's a Hall of Fame career. And Devin Haney's career, even with undisputed in the four-belt era, pales in comparison to what Timothy Bradley did and accomplished. And Bill Haney knows this. That's why he's so desperately spewing out his BS. But then again, like I said, what do you expect from a convicted drug dealer? Let's see what people are saying in the chat. El Pinchi says, this is not the typical small Mexican moving up. I don't know what they're talking about. Official Scorecard Boxing, shout out to Official, aka Steph K Boxing Science, says, I rewinded the stream from the beginning. The New Zealander is so pathetic that he's cocking for Sean Zittel. Well, I mean, he criticized Zittel a little bit too, though. But then at the end, he says, I have all the respect in the world for Zittel, which was weird considering you were criticizing him earlier. But anyway, shout out to Steph K. OG Blaze says, dude beat Kambosos, so what? Exactly. Kambosos, who then went on to be outclassed by Maxi Hughes and got a give decision. The same guy that got beat by, and then ends up getting stopped by Lomachenko. Kambosos did. Haney could come close to doing that in 24 rounds against Kambosos. Lomachenko goes in there, shows you how it's done. Grim Reaper says, Bradley ended Pacquiao's 7-year unbeaten run and beat Marquez after he slept Pacquiao. There you go. That right there, even if you think the Pacquiao win was controversial, could you imagine Haney against the 2012 Pacquiao? He'd be running and clinching his way just to try to make it a distance. And look at how Linares, old-ass Linares, who at that point, everyone who'd beaten Linares had done so by stoppage. Haney goes in there thinking, I can beat this guy too. I can stop him too because I'm the greatest. He goes in there. He does try to fight more aggressive than usual, gets clocked, gets hurt. And what does he do? Does he fight back like Timothy Bradley did against Kendall Holt? No. He clinches his way to a decision. Damn near molesting Linares. Outrageous. He's got no balls. And all the money that Bill Haney's trying to pump into his career, you can't buy your son any balls, man. Genetically, you're weak. What do you want from me? It is what it is. It's a reality. Bernard says Loma knocked Kambosos out in Australia. Yeah. Nobody cares about that, though, because, it wasn't for undisputed in the four-belt era. Bray says Putin is responsible for all this Haney nonsense. Yeah, let's blame Putin for that. Why not, man? I mean, yeah, if this whole conflict hadn't started, Lomachenko is the one that would have gone to Kambosos first and would have stopped him. And then maybe and by the way, isn't it funny how none of these guys wanted to rematch Lomachenko? Salido didn't want to do it. Lopez didn't want to do it. Haney didn't want to do it. But now that you think about it, if they would have given Lomachenko the win, he would have gone to maybe rematch Haney, and it would have been another entertaining fight. Maybe he goes up and fights Lopez. Maybe he says, you know what, I've done it all at lightweight, which is what I wanted to be undisputed. Now I can move up to 140 and rematch Teofimo Lopez. That would have been good. Lomachenko would have done that, no problem. Lomachenko he was the type of guy that he didn't care about contract negotiations. You didn't see him on Twitter barking up and down about, I want this guy, I want that guy. He fought them all. Devin Haney, on the other hand, the establishment gave him the win because they wanted their next Floyd Mayweather. And what happens? Neither him or Lopez fight each other. They circle each other left and right, but they don't actually fight each other. So that's what I would suggest to these people that run the sport. Stop trying to get the next Floyd Mayweather. Stop trying to get the next American star. A lot of these guys won't fight each other. Shakur Stevenson hasn't fought Devin Haney. Shakur Stevenson hasn't fought Tank Davis. Vice versa. Tank Davis hasn't fought either of those guys. They don't fight each other. Keith Schofield. Oh, I'm going to fight Shakur Stevenson. Then on fight week, all of a sudden I got malaria. I can't fight. I've been poisoned. I mean, come on. Like he's a Russian spy or something who gets poisoned with plutonium or something. These guys are not it. Focus on the foreign fighters because, you're seeing guys in Japan, they draw crowds. Guys in Europe, they sell crowds. Or they sell at arenas. Then you go to America, Benavides in Las Vegas can't sell out. 90,000 pay-per-view buys. Does that seem like a star to you? And don't get me wrong, Benavides is entertaining, but he doesn't have star power. A lot of these Americans don't have. The only American that has any star power is Tank Davis. And even he's not mainstream. He does, 150,000 pay-per-view buys? Now they're finally realizing, the Americans are realizing, okay, we got to start from the bottom up. Jaron Ennis, put him in Philadelphia. Shakur Stevenson, put him in New Jersey. They got to keep it local. But this whole thing of, let's take him to Vegas. Nobody gives a shit about Shakur Stevenson in Vegas. Same thing about Jaron Ennis. Those places don't get filled up. Stop trying to focus on these so-called American stars because it's not working out. Pound for Pound King says American boxers have become pathetic. I mean, that's why we got to put our hopes on Abdullah Mason and Jaron Ennis because those guys, and even Jaron Ennis, though, he's got criticism his way because he's a bit of a weight bully. Raymond Ford's another guy that people overlook. He's going to be fighting Kashashi, by the way, Kasashi or whatever his name is. And Raymond Ford is not a back foot bitch, so shout out to him too. Regis being your best win is not good, says OG Blaze. Yeah, man. Pound for Pound King says if Haney were to fight Pacquiao, he would have broken his own clinching record. Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. The real 6SB90 says, I thought Keyshawn was the next Terence Crawford. This weekend showed me I was wrong. Well, I mean, here's what's going to be interesting now. The interesting thing is going to be how does Keyshawn Davis perform at 140 without the size advantage? Because now he's going to be fighting other guys like Richards and Hitchens who also pack on a lot of pounds and cut a lot of weight to make 140. There's a lot of danger there at 140. You still got Jack Catterall, you got Teofimo Lopez, you got Puello, you got Matias. It's a loaded division too in its own right. We'll see how Keyshawn Davis looks. Al Cuerpo says Bradley tried to brawl with Prodovnikov. Yeah, that's another one. That's another win. I mean, it was a close fight, but he showed a lot of balls. Can you imagine Devin Haney against Prodovnikov? He probably would have beaten Prodovnikov, but he certainly wouldn't have done so the way Chris Algieri and Bradley did. Anyway, that's all I got for today, fellas. I got to go. Got to grab a little breakfast. But hopefully you enjoyed this morning show. I want to do a show with the panelists, though, man, because I want to hear what they got to say about this Keyshawn Davis situation and everything else that transpired on Saturday. But, we all got conflicting schedules now, so maybe Bucho can do a show, or maybe I can do one later this evening or later on in the week, because we also have a little boxing going on this weekend, I believe. What do we got on the weekend? Hold on a second. Don't forget to hit the like, fellas. Hit the like, hit the like, hit the like. Hopefully you enjoyed the show. Trying to find the schedule here. Here we go. June the 8th. That was yesterday. So the 14th is the Saturday. So we got Richardson Hitchens versus the aforementioned George Kambosos. Ugh. You know what? Call me crazy, man, but if I'm an optimist, the best hope is that Kambosos can somehow give Hitchens a good fight. Because let's not forget, Hitchens is not that far off from being on the same level as Mickey Bay, whom George Kambosos beat a couple of years ago. So maybe Kambosos can make something happen, but Kambosos is horrible at cutting the ring off and pressuring. He's got no guard. He's got no body shots. He doesn't know how to pressure. And we saw how Hitchens was able to beat another Aussie in Paro, who, again, another fighter like Paro who doesn't know how to fight coming forward. That's when you need that Mexican style to come in. Or guys like Abdullah Mason and Albright, who showed you that they can fight coming forward. But guys like Kambosos and Paros, they just don't know how to do it. And also, I forgot to say, Andy Cruz is going to be fighting on that card. We forgot to mention Andy Cruz. That's a guy that, he's been calling out Keyshawn Davis, and now he's probably got a couple of things to say about Davis missing weight and all that. He's fighting on Saturday. See if he can upstage the Davises. And Ernesto Tito Mercado, a guy that I like, despite the fact that he's a trash talker. I like him because he actually brings it. He trash talks it and he backs it up. Taking on Jonathan Montrell. So we're going to be seeing him, see if he calls out the Davises and the Shakur Stevensons of the world. I believe I just saw that here, by the way. Ernesto Mercado calls out Nahir Albright for his minor belt. That would be a good fight. That would be a good test for Tito Mercado, who's got wins over Nakatila, Nongeni, who's another African gatekeeper. Mercado was able to beat him by decision. Nongeni's tough, so no shame there. And just recently, Mercado stopped the shop-worn Pedraza. So it would be good to see him in there against Albright. Albright, who, as we've established, is very good. And very talented, too. Multi-talented, boxing and singing. That's right.
Sing y'all something. Alright. It's hard for me to say this, but it's come from my heart. Been a long time coming. We've been fell apart. I wanna work this out. I don't think you're gonna change it. I think it's best we should go.
I mean, you got beat by Marvin Gaye. You imagine that? Kelvin Davis got beat by Marvin Gaye. Come on now. Something's wrong here. Pound for Pound King says Chickenson looks like 147 and 155 pounder besides Kambosos. Yeah, that's another guy from that Bomac sphere of influence. Another guy, a junior middleweight hiding at lightweight. And by the way, Shakur Stevenson recently said he would be willing to move up in weight to fight Conor Benn. So he's willing to fight Conor Benn, but he's not willing to fight Jaron Ennis at 147. He's not even willing to fight. I think he's willing to fight Tank Davis. I think Tank Davis is the problem in that situation. But still, I'm going to move up for Conor Benn. What about Jaron Ennis? That's a little too early. That fight down the line. Maybe down the line. Maybe let's marinate a little bit. Let's sell it so they can be a bigger fight. Get the fuck out of here. Reverend Pickle says, morning shows are good. I don't sell too many ice creams at this time of day. Passes the time. We got El Paletero in the house. But like I was saying earlier, so that's the fight. We got a nice event on Saturday via New York. I don't know. What do you guys think? Do you think Hitchens is going to outbox Kambosos? Is that set in stone? Or can Kambosos surprise us again the way he did in 2021? So maybe we'll come back and talk about that one. By the way, just so I don't get anything twisted, Brian Norman is fighting on June the 19th. So that is a Thursday, right? Yeah, okay, that's a Thursday. Okay. That's another fight we got to look forward to getting up early for. That's going to be people are saying it's going to be a banger. So we'll see what happens there. Rafael32, shout out to Rafael32, one of the initiated. He says Kambosos loses. All right, there you go. Not a lot of hope for Kambosos. Dwayne Style says he loves the morning shows. All right, shout out to you. Rafael says yes in Japan. Jin Ryu says the lion from Don Francisco is going to come out and take away Albright. Afuera. Oh, wait a minute. Don Francisco, you talking about the guy who lives in the jungle over there in the Cuba who still thinks he's 1960? I didn't even know Mercado was of Cuban descent. I thought he was Dominican or something. Interesting. Pound for Pound King says Kambosos has registered after parting ways with his coach. 4 different coaches he's had over his last 4 fights. That's crazy. Damn, I didn't even know that, man. Maybe that explains the uneven performances, or maybe the uneven performances are what pushes him to change trainers all the time. So it's almost an indirect way of blaming the coaches for his lackluster performances. Grim Reaper says Hitchens is more than likely to be too big for him, and Kambosos will struggle with his jab. Yeah, that's the thing, though. Is I keep telling people the reason why I knew Haney was gonna outbox Kambosos is when I saw that clip of Kambosos sparring Tagoe, and Tagoe's tagging him, no pun intended, with the jab. And I said, "Oh boy, if you can't avoid Tagoe's jab, you're not getting out of the way of Devin Haney's jab." So that's the thing. Drummond for Life says if Killer Cam wins a rematch. If Killer Cam wins rematch with Tio, that's the logical. I think that's the one that Teofimo Lopez would go for. Now, whether the Sheik would be willing to shell out money for that one, who knows? Al Cuerpo says Kambosos is a fan-friendly gym rat. I don't know about just fan friendly when you can't cut off the ring, but I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying. He's got balls, that's for sure. He showed a lot of balls against Teofimo Lopez in 2021. All right, fellas, listen, that does it for the morning edition of the BDA Boxing Podcast. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the show. Again, we'll try to be back later on this week. And if nothing happens, if nothing else occurs, might as well do a second Renaissance. It's been months since we've done it. Or we've done a second Renaissance. I'd like to do them every day too, but, what do you want? I got a life. And I got other stuff to do. But I really want to do them because I enjoy doing the second Renaissance. Hopefully you guys enjoy watching them, listening to them as much as I enjoy airing them. So stay tuned for that one. Maybe this week we'll do a second Renaissance. For the moment, that's it for this show. Shout out to you fellas. Hopefully you guys enjoy the show. Don't forget to hit the like. Shout out to everybody who called in. Shout out to people who donated via the Super Chat. Don't forget you can donate via the Super Chat, join the membership program, or you can donate via Buy Me a Coffee. The app link is in the description. Don't forget to head on over to Patreon. Our Patreon, again, link in the description. You can join for free. That's about it. Shout out to everybody in the chat. Reverend Pickles, Pound for Pound King, Dwayne Styles, Bernard. Oh yeah, hit the like on the way out, fellas. Hit the like. Hit the like. 27 more likes and we get to 100. There you go. Hit that like on the way out. Shout out to Pound for Pound King, El Cuerpo Boxing, Derek Clark, Two Matador, Bernard, Grim Reaper, Dwayne Styles, Drumming for Life, Reverend Pickles, Gene Ryu Jr. 33. Who else? Sergeant. Shout out to FST and Never Sobers who were here earlier as well. Shout out to everybody in the chat. If I forgot any, Warp Speed. Shout out to Warp Speed. If I forgot anybody, it's because we got to go.